Access Sacramento presents a special hometown TV broadcast. This program is funded in part by a grant from the Sacramento Metropolitan Cable Television Commission.
And welcome to Pig Bowl 46, Guns and Hoses game, the fire dogs of the fire department and the dogs of the law, Haw Dogs. All good guys getting ready for some good football here this afternoon. Doug Kelly, along with my colleague Greg Coet. Lauren Goodman will join us shortly. Greg, a lot of new faces on this fireside that you have not previously seen, nor I, and they now have numbers to compete with the law.
Yeah, if you're looking at the biggest change this year, it's awesome. They have some buy-in from their players. They got a lot of people out here that we've never seen before. A lot of good college athletes. I think it's going to be a difference in this game, and there's a twinkle in their eyes. So they've had a great time this morning. I spent some time with them at the breakfast. It was amazing to see how confident they are and what they're going to bring to this game. So it should be exciting.
Greg, you've played many years in this game. The teams are soon to emerge from the locker room. What's going to be the message the coaches send?
Well, I know I talked to our good friend Walt White, and he says, remember, Greg, when you're talking today, tell them Fire's never really lost a game. They've just run out of time, right? So I think today, with the squad that they've put together, it could be one of those deals where they get up early, and it's going to be incumbent upon the law enforcement to come back and make it a game. So it should be interesting today.
The law coach, Mike Morris, whose, quote, real job is the head football coach at American River College, he mentioned they've got a couple of young running backs among those new guys that we haven't seen before that bring a big element of speed to this offense.
Yeah, and I thought that was going to be an issue this year because we lost the two studs that we had last year running for the law team. To get these two new guys, we've never seen them before. It's a good combo. One's a bigger guy, right, and one's a little faster, a little shiftier type running back, so it's a good combination. So it'll be fun to mention their name and talk to them. I got to meet them this morning at the breakfast, and very nice, humble kids, and that makes a difference when you're out here as well.
So the stage is now set. Get set for some football. Fine, exciting game this afternoon, and we'll be back with the opening kickoff after these timeouts.
It used to be simple. When I was young and couldn't figure things out, I asked for help. I let someone know when I got hurt, or scared, or sad. As I grew older, things got more complicated. Sometimes people let me down, so I solved my own problems. Then I joined the military. They trained me to be strong. I learned to carry my own weight, and sometimes the weight of others. Now that I'm home, it seems hard to fit back in. Reaching out is difficult because I want to do it on my own. Remember when you were young? Asking for help was simple. We asked for help. You don't have to do this alone. Veterans like us have faced similar challenges. We're not alone at MakeTheConnection.net.
me. Nailed it.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Hello again, everybody. Awaiting kickoff for the 46th annual Pig Bowl game. Since 2003, this is known as the Guns and Hoses, matching local law enforcement against regional fire departments. Let's go down to the field now and join our colleague, Lauren Goodman.
Well, guys, almost a year ago to the date, we had the last meeting between these two fire and hogs, and it was a thriller on our hands on this field. They had Law win in a close game down the stretch and were able to pull it away, being the final score, being able to extinguish the fire and able to score 24-18. A late TD caps the clutch drive, extending the Law with a 4-game winning streak. Now, this series has a very rich history, once starting off as the Pig Bowl and now known as the Gun and Hoses game, has been a ton of history in it. And you see here from 1974 to 2002, there was the police versus sheriff, 29 games total, and you had a 15-13 split with one tie coming in Pig Bowl Game 3, 1976, way before my time, where it was a 6-6 tie. Now, since there has been a name change in 2003, the Guns and Hoses have been the Fire versus the Law, and there's been a total of 16 games, and it has been dominated by the Law. Law trying to extend their game-winning streak, and Fire with these new rosters and new players trying to get into the mix of things. Back to you.
Thank you, Lauren. Well, Greg Coet, we're just moments from kickoff. Your initial thoughts going into this game?
Well, I think we always come out and we talk about football, right? Because that's what this game's all about. But what I saw today, again, I was able to go to the breakfast this morning, and both Law and Fire are attending breakfasts now, and they're talking about the history of this game and the traditions of this game and the buy-in and what these officers and firefighters actually do to get ready for the game. So I sort of bought into that. I'm not an emotional guy. I might have cried 3 times this morning hearing some of these stories. It was absolutely amazing. Captain Jim Barnes has taken over this game and has really taken it to that next level. He's explaining the why. Like, why are we here? And then the traditions. And he's getting the fire guys to buy into the traditions and attend the breakfast and raise money and do all the things that is well above the Call of Duty for actually just playing this game. We all love this game, right? We're all athletes out here on this field. That's a major part of it, but the minor part is that, you know what, we come out here and we risk ourselves to make money for some of the things that they're doing on the field right now. And they're talking I'm talking about the Make-A-Wish and what they're doing for this young kid out here today. So it was really emotional to be at, and it was pretty awesome. And it made me think back to all those times of why we as law enforcement, we as firefighters do what we do and continue to come out here and support the community and raise money for the community.
Well, Greg, as a former player yourself, and you've seen a lot of your colleagues on both sides of the ball, it's got to be a lot of fun to reminisce with these guys because you used to see them on a pretty regular basis. Some of the guys are retired now, so you don't see them as often.
And thank God that they still let me come do these things, right? And first and foremost, I get to see you. Like once or twice a year we get together, but I get to see you, and we have a history together in Sacramento that goes back to the day I first got here. So it's the same with these guys, right? I don't see these guys once or twice a year, but I know the traditions and the history of this game. They always let me present an award at their breakfast and speak and do a little thing to motivate them. But Right, I would. It's the best time of the year for me to come out here and to walk through the parking lot right now. I see all these people that I've worked with over the years, people that are retired, and they all come back, people that have played in this game over the years, and the camaraderie and the excitement to compete is amazing, I think.
Well, Greg, you mentioned a lot of the guys that have played in this game. Of course, every year the Guns N' Hoses Foundation adds new members to the Hall of Fame. I'm proud to say that you're a 19 Hall of Famer. So you and Troy Aikman. But when you see these guys that have played so well and so long, and you look at some of the names, we've got 7 players going into the Hall in 2020, including a guy named Jose Whitfield, who set all sorts of records out here.
Jose was doing those things as we get older in life. We start doing, and if you've played in this game, he was at the breakfast this morning cooking, right? And so I too was there cooking breakfast for these players, and the transition from being a brand new officer to being a player to being on the committee to now being too old, and you go to the kitchen to cook for the players. And so it's an interesting. It was very hard for me to take this morning, but it was fun. It was awesome.
On the field now, the presentation of our nation's colors and a very moving ceremony. This afternoon, we honor 3 fallen officers and firefighters from the previous year. Sacramento Sheriff's Officer Tara O'Sullivan, El Dorado County Sheriff's Deputy Brian Ishmael, and Sacramento firefighter Tamara Thatcher. May they rest in peace. Rendition of our national anthem just leading up to kickoff. I should tell you about the Hall of Fame inductees for 2020. Frankie Collins, former coach of the Law. the aforementioned Jose Whitfield, Ron Bosworth from the Sacramento Sheriff's Department, along with Ernie Daniels, Nick Yarnan, Sacramento Police, Scotty Scott, Sacramento Police Coach, and Robert Swanger, one of the few inductees into the Hall who is still an active player. So congratulations to each of those fine gentlemen as we wrap up the pregame festivities, and we'll be ready for football in just a moment.
Heavenly Father, we ask that you be with the players today, watch over them, keep them safe. Those of our law enforcement firefighters that are on the job today across this great nation, please keep them safe so they can go home at the end of their shift. Let's have a great game throughout this. In Jesus' name, amen.
Game officials this afternoon. The referee is Craig Myers, umpire Marty Tomlinson, the headline judge Eric Cordova, Mark Fagan the line judge, Brad Werner the field judge, side judge is Chad Sindell, and the back judge Eric Joe. Craig and his crew will bring the captains together here shortly. I'd like to acknowledge our help in the booth today from Will James. You know him from the high school game of the week on Access Sacramento. We certainly appreciate Will's help. And we're just about ready to kick this thing off. 46th annual edition of the Pig Bowl. The game went to the law and enforcement and firefighter format back in 2003. And Greg, it's hard to believe that much time has passed since the transition.
Yeah, and it's been up and down over the years. It's been a tough battle for the fire guys to maintain a team, and we've helped them over the years. And I think over the last 2 years, with the new coach from Folsom High School, Banning, Coach Banning, who I spoke to quite a bit this morning, he's really changed the flavor of what they're all about. You can look down on the field right now and look at the fire guys and see their brand new uniforms and their new white helmets, and they actually look like a team. And if you recall last year, there was different color helmets, and they were just put together, and a lot of stuff happened.
Before you do that, do you want to?
It is heads. Law enforcement, we'd like to go one. We will defer. They would defer. Fire will receive. Which way would you like to go?
We'll go towards the flag.
We'll take away from the law.
Jasper, on behalf of Guns and Hoses,
Jim Barnes out there at the
New Zealand.
So for those of you who can't figure out what's going on here right now, it's the Make-A-Wish, Adopt-A-Wish program, which fire and law enforcement have granted a wish to Jasper, who knew nothing about this coming into the coin toss today. And he sat out on the field, and basically what they did is give him a coin that has it's a New Zealand coin that he flipped, and they granted his wish to go to New Zealand. And with the money that we've raised and we heard about this morning, was amazing.
Well, that's certainly a great effort on all of the people raising money for such a wonderful group as the Make-A-Wish people. And we wish him only the best and a great trip to a place that's pretty far from here, actually.
What did you tell me earlier today that you wanted to
You ever been to New Zealand?
No.
Okay, well.
Yeah, so Mana, you were headed there to go see where the Hobbit was filmed. Wow. And many of you don't know, but Jasper actually is an avid mountain biker. And that is one of the main reasons why he wanted to go to New Zealand, because they have amazing mountain biking. So you're getting a chance to do that as well. And also, there's more. You are headed down to Blackwater Tubing on an underground river to see the in Mana. All right, you ready for magical wish. So, all right, this is what we need, everyone, to make a wish come true at Make-A-Wish. On the count of 3, I need everybody to yell Make-A-Wish. Are we ready, everybody? 1, 2, 3. Make-A-Wish! Here it's officially granted.
And Jasper, on behalf of Pregame Guns and Hoses, we have some special Make-A-Wish tickets and arrows for you. Make-A-Wish on with your name, Jasper, as well. So, it's our guests, our VIP. Hope you enjoy the game. Everybody else, let's cheer loud for everybody on the field and those who can't be with us today, those who are serving in the streets so we can be here and enjoy a great day. Let's get it on.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Jennifer. I think we should play some football. What do you think?
Teams are headed back to their benches. It'll be the Fire on the near side, the Law on the far side. Crowd, very nice crowd, Greg, filing in. And some of these folks have been here since dawn this morning.
Yeah, and of course they always do the barbecuing the night before they're out here, and we have some construction going on in the parking lot, which has changed the format of where all these people can camp and do the overnight camping, and I think it turned into a really good positive feeling for everybody that's out here. These guys were up bright and early this morning, which makes sort of the tradition. You go back to that. It's the tradition of Pig Bowl is to camp out the night before and then come to the game. And we usually don't see the crowd come in so early. So God bless them for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just to recap what took place just about a year ago today in a very competitive ball game, the Law team defeated the Fire team 24-18. Jay Sloan scored on an 8-yard run with just 55 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and there were 4 field goals in the game, each by 2, each team getting 2. And Greg, we had a very, very competitive game last year, and I look for the same this year.
Yeah, I'm nervous this year, if you can tell, right? And I think it's a good nervousness because I think breeding a competitive game will help this game survive and continue on and thrive. Captain Barnes has done a great job of trying to put together something that people want to be part of. They want to be part of the tradition, and not only that, they want to see competitiveness in these games. These guys are nothing but athletes, right? Yes, they do. They work for the fire department, they work for the law enforcement, and they do their day-to-day jobs. But when they get out here on the field, I guarantee when their cleats touch that grass, they go back to being that athlete, that competitor, and put all that other stuff aside. And you're crazy if you do not think they want to win this game.
Well, we certainly caught a break with nice weather here. I think I had told you during the week that I was afraid it might rain, but have not seen any evidence of that. And, very foggy this morning, but it all burned off, and going to have a nice quick field for the players today, and we'll get going in just a moment. This is the longest running charity football game in the United States at 46 years. First game was in 1975. 32,000 fans were in Hughes Stadium that day. As we mentioned, the game was modified in 2003 to law enforcement against firefighters, and the event stands as the longest running public safety charity football game in the U.S. that was written about in USA Today last year. And in the finest tradition of community support, the Pig Bowl Guns and Hoses charity has raised over $1.8 million for local charities within our region. So a tip of the cap to everybody who's involved in that endeavor. And we are underway. Yes, sir. Ball taken at the 8. Good return.
That's always the most nervous play in football right there.
Yep.
Right?
Got the starting offense for the Fire. Ricky Rodarte. He'll wear number 8. His top target, Corey Galindo, former player at UC Davis. Jeff Roberts, the running back. Fire Dogs offense along the front line. Wade Jacobson, Alex Karp, Saim Kazar, Kyle Coleman, and Michael Mattis. So a 1st and 10 from the Fire 28. Sweep around left end. Nice gain by Terrence McDonald. Now the defense for the Hogs, Tim Merrill and Chris Ramos, the DNs. Miguel Gonzalez, tackle. Jamie Morris, nose guard. Josh Langensiepin, the outside linebacker, along with Freddie Rodriguez. He's a veteran. Travis Stanfield, the middle linebacker. In the secondary, Garth Keffer and Jeffrey Daigle. Jason Rutledge at one safety, and Daryl Gunther. Pickup of 6 on the play.
I was talking to Coach for the Fire. He says they're going to run a sort of a hurried up offense, but then he went on to explain that he's got to be careful because it's not guys that he gets to play with and get in condition for the whole year, so he doesn't want to wear them out.
18 is not the new 40.
No.
So both sides are getting a little deliberate here.
And I'm excited to see how Ricky plays at quarterback for the Fire.
Rodarte's pass incomplete. Good pressure from Tim Merrill that time for the Hogs.
So Rodarte did a great job this year, and being at the breakfast, get to sort of listen to what he put into this game, and he's taken over for Garside. And Coach said that what a willing participant. He showed up for every practice. Even one practice, he had to jump back in his ambulance, take his helmet off and go handle a call for service, and he came right back to continue the practice, and that's the difference in being a player out here.
Pass is complete to Corey Galindo. When Galindo played for UC Davis, he had tremendous speed, and he still showed it right there. One feature of the new outfits for the law enforcement includes the broadcaster's best friend, last names.
Well, be careful about that because I know there's a lot of people on the law enforcement team that are wearing the names of fallen officers or friends that have passed that were in law enforcement, and, which we'll get into some of those stories as the game goes on. And I have one about Jeffrey Daigle that's wearing his good friend's name on the back of his jersey.
Well, don't be shy about telling the good stories, my friend. Nope. 1st and 10 at midfield for the Fire, opening possession of the game. Rodarte with the keeper. Brought down by Josh Langensiepin. 12-minute quarters in this game as we now take a look at the replay. The fake into the line, and Rodarte puts his head down, gains some tough yardage. Rodarte audibilizing right now. Didn't like what he saw, try something else. Pass is incomplete. Defending on the play, Justin Jackson for the Law. "12-minute quarters in effect in this game. So just underway here at Sacramento State. Been the home of the Guns N' Hoses game for a long time.
A little confusion out there.
Law seems to think the Fire jumped.
What I know about this game, Doug, is it's not going to be perfect, right? You know, these guys basically had a month to prepare and really only about 18 practices to get themselves into not only football shape, but to have the knowledge to do what they're supposed to do at the right time. And they're not going to play perfectly today. It's not going to be flawless. It's who's going to make the least mistakes might have a better chance of winning this game.
Rodarte's pass intended for Justin Somerville, incomplete. So the Fire now looking at a 2nd and 15 situation. You know, Greg, you mentioned that this game won't be perfect. Well, I'm not sure anybody's ever played a perfect football game.
Yeah.
There'll be even mistakes down in Miami a week from tomorrow.
Well, the only difference here is the flaws are very noticeable here, whereas on Sundays they're not that noticeable. So
Rodarte's pass complete. Big gain for the Fire. Josh Thoming, the receiver. Good downfield effort. So taking the ball all the way down. Rodarte looking around, finds an open receiver, and he does the rest himself. Yards after catch, so important in this game. All the way down to about the 27-yard line. Rodarte thrown again. Pass incomplete. Brett Randall, the intended receiver.
And I'll have to come out to say that, with the flawlessness of this game, right, is also going to transpire up into the booth here because the schedules or the rosters that they've given us aren't always up to date. No excuses here. I'll take ownership of this, but makes it a little difficult for us, and it's just the manner in which this game is put together. So.
Rodarte's pass is complete to Randall.
Randall again.
Randall down to the 15-yard line. So the Fire in the red zone.
Well, it's fun to come out here and watch Fire just sort of march down the field, do a great job, and all they're doing is taking a little quick 3-step drop. There's no backs in the backfield, and hitting a quick out. Defensive backs are playing a little far off right now, sort of just getting used to the game.
Handoff to Alex Kleefeld. And a late penalty flag comes out. Thrown by the referee, Craig Myers. We'll see what that's all about. Little extracurricular.
Yes. That's fun. That's just competitiveness right there. I like to see that, right? What happens there is the Fire's driving right down the field, doing a great job of it.
Defense, number 11. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Tim Merrill a little aggressive there, but like you said, it's part of the game. And once guys get onto between the white lines, they go back to being football players.
Yes, sir. And if you got to meet Tim Merrill face to face, you would know why he's aggressive. He's a big kid, a very good football player. I'm not kidding. He's 6'6", 280, right? I mean, a little imposing,
to say the least. Merrill, Rodarte's pass batted down by Merrill.
There you go. Perfect. 6'6". Get your arms up.
Yep.
Make things happen.
280? Take a look at the replay here. Merrill comes blasting through, and that pass never had a chance.
No. He does not play like he's 280 at all. Nice play.
Rodarte's pass knocked away. Cole Farrow for the Law. I think Rodarte thought he might have, make that Jason Rutledge on the play. 16 looks like 18 up here now.
That's you see my glasses on, sir.
It's quite all right, my man. Rodarte goes to his right, being pressured, and he will be brought down. Making the stop for the Law.
Yeah, it's going to be Merrill and his counterpart over there, but
Jamie Morris. Yes,
he's making that impression right off the bat.
Jamie, a mere 260.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fourth down. Replay on the sack.
Well, yeah, Jamie just got up the field, but nobody touched him, so that's one of those plays, right?
Chad Alvis on to attempt a field goal. It will be from 29 yards.
These plays in these games always make me nervous. Ooh, that's why.
And the kick is up, and the kick is good. So the Fire on the board first as Alvis connects from 29 yards out.
Oh, I forgot about that big boom.
Well, it wouldn't be a Guns N' Hoses game without some loud noises.
I just watched everybody in the stands jump. It was awesome, including myself.
So put the Fire on the board first. Alvis with a 29-yard field goal. So now we get the opportunity to see what the Law does with the football.
Hey, you know what these guys did this year, Doug, that is different than the past years is Captain Barnes challenged everybody on that played in this game to raise money on their own and put together a website so they could get their family and friends to donate money. And then they gave awards out this morning on who raised the most money, and they actually required everybody to raise over $200. So you got players out in the field that are donating their time and effort to be out here, out there raising money as well. And I think they raised today, prior to this game even taking place, prior to the Pig Bowl money, they raised on their own as players to play in this game. They raised over $44,000, right? With one of the players from Brian Johnson from the Sheriff's Department raised by himself. I think it was a little bit over $6,000.
Short kickoff. A host of Fire tacklers surrounding the ball carrier. Good kickoff coverage by the Fire. The Fire scoring drive.
Yeah.
Now we got some definite extracurriculars going on. Four flags in total.
Yeah, it's raining yellow flags out there. I love it.
And Will, last I checked, there's only 7 officials. So over half saw something they didn't like.
Well, hey, what you have to remember is this is a competitive game, and they're going to go out there, and I can't tell you anybody that's ever wanted to finish second, right? So they're going to go out there and compete. When you put these players on the field that are on special teams and might not be starters, right? That was their first time to get on the field and do something, and their emotions have been backing up for over a month, and it sort of just lets it flow, right?
You do get tired of hitting your own people.
Yeah,
and,
no doubt.
If there's any justice here, there'll be 2 flags on each side, and we will resume as scheduled. But we'll see.
After the play, unsportsmanlike, receiving team, number 50. That is his first unsportsmanlike towards an injection of 2 today. I have an unsportsmanlike after the play. Gets red, number 53. That is his first unsportsmanlike towards a 2 on the possible ejection. They offset, first down.
I absolutely love that you get 2 chances, right? You get 2 chances to be bad before they kick you out.
Yep.
So,
good point.
It's actually exactly how I lead and mentor my guys. I'll give them 2 shots, and that's it. So.
Okay, so the Fire will start out 1st and 10 from the...
And Jay Sloan at quarterback coming back in.
Jay Sloan, the hero of last year's game. Sloan's pass complete to Cole Farrow. Nice gain.
They talked about Cole because he was a quarterback, right? Up at Rio Linda and did some good work up there, but they moved him from quarterback this year out to the slot. He's impressed them, and I think you'll see him get the ball quite a bit today.
Pick up at 12 yards, all the way out to the 39-yard line. Handoff, not much up front. 3 or 4 Fire players right in the middle of the action.
Yeah, talking to the Fire coaches, they were talking about how their linebackers are. Last year they had Glass playing linebacker, and he's not playing this year. But he had 20 solo tackles by himself last year and sort of led that defense. And even though they're missing him this year, he says all together as a group of linebackers, they're better. So his group that he has playing this year is better than just having one stud from last year.
I certainly remember Jordan Glass at UC Davis, and he would routinely have 20 tackles in a game. Pitch back to Farrow. Catapulted up and down. The Fire scoring drive to open the ball game, 72 yards, 15 plays. They took 5:02 off the clock.
Very impressed, right?
Yep.
And I was sort of looking for that from Fire, just based on what I've been hearing, is that they were going to come out and run a quick hurry-up offense, and they have the ability to put some points on the board very quickly.
So a 3rd and 6, staring the Law in the face.
Oh.
Pass is picked off for the Fire. All the way down to the 10-yard line. Stephen K.
with a nice interception, yes. Right? All he had to do was actually trap the ball because it got thrown right in the middle of his chest. So
Stephen K., a member of the Vallejo Fire Department. So the first turnover of the game goes to the Fire, as well as the first scoring play. And now they're in prime shape too.
Interception. Personal foul. Illegal blindside block against the original defensive team. 15 yards from the spot of foul. Still a first down Fire.
So a blindside block negates some of the yardage that K was able to gain, but it will be the Fire ball. 4 minutes and 30 seconds in the first quarter, and the Guns and Hoses, the Fire on top, 3-0.
Hey, talking to Sloan before the game, he was telling me how they're going to run a lot more read option, give him the ability to pull the ball down a lot and run the ball. And he was like, I don't know if I'm going to run it that much, but and I was like, yeah, who's your backup, right? But gave him the option to do that, and then also told me that the receivers were going to jump out to the flat, so it'd give him a quick little throw. Well, that's exactly what he tried to do. He just didn't account for the player standing right in front of him.
Rodarte's pass is well overthrown, but another flag comes out. No shortage of yellow laundry in the early stages here.
No, you know what? And I think that's good to sort of settle down the players off the bat right now and calm their emotions a little bit. And then hopefully the game can just smooth out. They can keep those tucked away and make us have some fun out here.
Against defense, number 20. Eligible receiver, automatic first down.
So the call is holding. We'll put the ball at the 38-yard line. 1st and 10. Pass intended for Alex Kleefeld. That one was thrown behind him, Greg. Not a lot of catching opportunity there.
No, you know what? I think with Ricky throwing the ball today, you're gonna find out. Even though he attended every practice, I don't know if you get the gar side precision from Ricky, but you do get his knowledge of the game and what plays to try to hit, and he'll figure it out. I think he impressed me this morning, and I think he's going to impress us throughout the day.
Handoff on the jet sweep. Kleefeld again.
And if that name sounds familiar, right, Coach Kleefeld, son?
Yep. Rich Kleefeld, the longtime coach here.
Hall of Famer?
Yep.
All right.
Fire being somewhat deliberate. Now we have an illegal formation.
5 yards, 3rd down.
Rodarte passing so far, 3 of 10 for 49 yards. officials staying busy here in the early going. Garde back to pass. Plenty of time. Throws it over the middle. Pass is caught by Holden Renz. Renz out of the Hollister Fire Department. One thing they've done, Greg, is recruit players from all over Northern California, not just here in Greater Sacramento.
You know what? I think it's awesome that they're getting some players to make this game competitive, and it can only inspire like more players from coming out and making the game more of a challenge and better. Right? Get more people out here.
Got a pretty good house as it is.
It's that beautiful weather.
Darte to his right unloads before he is unloaded upon, and the pass is incomplete. That also intended for Holden Renz. So the Fire drive is, for the moment anyway, extinguished.
You know, I come into this game and I try not to talk about football as much, right? Because this isn't Saturday or Sunday afternoon football, right? It's not the best football, but these guys are out here doing their job. But you start watching these plays, and they've done a good job of just putting schemes together. And the coaching's changed, so it makes it interesting to me. They're running nice routes and getting after people.
Pass is complete to Cole Farrow. Take a look at the Law offense. Joe Alioto, number 13, one of the wideouts. Terrence McDonald and Michael Booth. The running backs, Kevin Lloyd, the tight end. Will Fossil, also at tight end. So they're running the jumbo package. Miguel Gonzalez at left tackle. George Parsons at right. The guards are Derek Hutchins and Robert Hauk. And the center is Cody Cotton. A flip pass is caught by Kevin Lloyd. Defensively for the Fire, the DNs are Ben Casanova and Kevin Rose. Alex Gradecki at tackle. The nose is Brian Ransdell. Ransdell, a longtime player in this game. Gary LaRussa, Stephen Kay, James Mahoney, and Mike Cullen are your backers. And in the secondary, the safeties, Mike Dariano and Matt Dariano. I believe they might be brothers. And the corner is David Worlds. What do you bet David Worlds' nickname is All?
Yeah.
Sweep around the right-hand side.
Got a flag.
By Farrow. Flags on the play.
I think we're going to be calling a lot of Farrell's name today.
You know, as long as he's doing what he's doing, why stop, you know?
Holding. Offense, number 27. 10 yards from the spot of foul. Repeat, second down.
So I'm gonna say this today, or throughout the last 2 years, Jim Barnes has been doing this game and directing this game. Well, his brother, who works for us as well, is Bob Barnes, and they both played football at Sac State. Bob, offensive lineman, has coached quite a bit, and we've recruited him to come back. He used to play in this game. We've recruited him to come back and work with our offensive line, and I talked to our offensive line guys, and they're like, it's just such a difference to get somebody that has this knowledge to help us out, put us through these drills, and get some good college coaching in under their belt. So I look at our offensive line. Even though they're not as deep as they should be, they're going to be pretty good.
Timeout on the field. 1 minute, 36 seconds to go here in the opening quarter. When play resumes, Greg, the Sheriffs will have a 2nd and 17, so they got some work to do.
Yes, sir.
Crowd continuing to file in, and a fair number of people are still in the parking lot, and they may not get out of that parking lot.
Well, I'll have to divulge something and just say that's probably my favorite spot. It's, I drove in, I stayed there for a little while, and it's just like old reunion week, right? It's having a good time, seeing people you haven't seen in a long time. And hey, that is part of the game, right? Is the reminiscing with the players that played years gone by and meeting up with old people and having barbecue. The DSA for the sheriff's department's out there cooking tri-tip and got a huge barbecue going. Players with Jeff up there has his bar set up in the parking lot, and it's really a fun atmosphere out there, and it's a good time. So it's a hard draw to get your butt to come on into this stadium, right?
Right, along with your never-ending thirst for knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, as we resume play. Pass is incomplete.
I think Fossil might have caught it on the ricochet there. Fossil, you remember, did such a great job last year at tight end, and he's back this year, and really unassuming type player, but has a great set of hands.
Watch the ball, watch the ball. Let's go!
It's funny, this defensive Fire, right? Really just three big guys up front, and then they run sort of a 2 linebacker scheme for the outside guys. One will drop, one will stay. Sort of lends itself to a running type offense, but we're seeing law enforcement sort of pick and choose what they're doing and giving Sloan the option to throw or run.
Jay Sloan taking a look at the defense. Unloads it in the direction of Farrell.
We just put that name on our tip of our tongue, I think, today.
Yeah, I think so too. For once, a completion that does not have a penalty.
What
Check
you
the
see
replay.
This replay, you just see them blitzing 43 off the side like that. And when you blitz, all you got to do is fill that gap with the receiver. And Farrell does a great job with his knowledge of knowing that, a former quarterback, going to the opening and catching the ball.
Michael Cullen, the blitzer, paid the price that time. Ball is loose in the backfield, and Sloan looks like he falls on it.
Lucky.
Yeah, very fortunate to still have possession of the football.
We're talking about mistakes early on in this game, and we're talking about how that's going to change the dynamic of this game. Sloan lucky to get a paw up on that and fall on it.
Just at the very last second, or it could have been Fire football.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the first quarter here at Pig Bowl 46 with the Fire in front 3-0, and we'll be back after these messages.
It used to be simple. When I was young and couldn't figure things out, I asked for help. I let someone know when I got hurt, or scared, or sad. As I grew older, things got more complicated. Sometimes people let me down, so I solved my own problems. Then I joined the military. They trained me to be strong. I learned to carry my own weight, and sometimes the weight of others. Now that I'm home, it seems hard to fit back in. Reaching out is difficult because I want to do it on my own. Remember when you were young? Asking for help was simple. We asked for help.
Second quarter action unfolding here. Hand off to Ryan Bellamy. Big gain for the law enforcement just on the other side of the field at the 45-yard line.
I believe that's one of those roster changes at the last second right there, so we'll figure that out. I believe it's Vasquez.
Vasquez, okay. We'll take a look at that.
Just based on his running style, and I know Ryan Bellamy pretty well. It does not look like him.
Does not have those attributes, okay. Pass is complete in the open field, run out of bounds.
That's a name we're going to hear some today if they decide to be productive, is McDonald at receiver, and he's been an all-star over the years for the law enforcement team, and we'll get him out there. Just a quick hook for them, 3-step drop, boom, and just fired. And Sloan does a good job. And basically, Sloan's doing a great job just reading what they're giving him and taking advantage of it.
So much of that is incumbent on the quarterback's knowledge of what the other team is showing him, plus what he's looked at in what little film is available.
Well, and they played this team with these same coaches last year, so they had film on them, so they get to make some educated decisions.
Vasquez, the ball carrier. Yeah, Vasquez, one of the 2 new running backs that the Law coaches are very high on.
Hey, just right up the middle, Doug. I mean, and you're seeing what I'm talking about is with Coach Barnes coaching that offensive line of them just creating a hole there.
Gain's good enough for a first down.
The defense, three D linemen, that's it. You get those guys out of the way and get your linebackers backing out of there. It's pretty easy to run.
Vasquez again. This time the Fire sniffed it out pretty well. Tackled by Jimmy Mahoney. Mahoney plays both ways, linebacker and running back, out of the Contra Costa Fire Department. Another one of these fellows are traveling a little far.
Yeah, he must be young, right? Hey, if you go back to playing both ways, I think I tried it the first couple times I played this game, and I just didn't have the cardio to do it, nor would I think any of these guys do either.
Sloan gesturing for his receivers to move from left to right. That would be Alioto and Farrow. And Sloan rolls to his right.
Wide open.
Alioto wide open that time. Great gain for the Law.
Joe's been playing in this game forever, and he's just right, straight lace. Come on to practice, get it done, and
you see Jay Sloan rolling out, and suddenly on a crossing pattern is Alioto, and there was nobody near him.
I don't think Alioto's going to fool anybody. He's not going to run by you by any means, but he'll find the opening to be a possession receiver for you.
Sloan marking him out.
Ooh, Earhart.
Hand off to Earhart. Earhart was the big horse last year for the Law enforcement. Andrew goes 5'11", 210.
I gave him a little bit of bad time because I saw him running at running back the other day at practice, and I was like, running back, huh? I go, he goes, yeah, I know, I've had a few kids. Which just means he's put a little weight on. So I know it'd be difficult. And I go, well, you got 15 days to get in shape, so good luck to you. But what a superstar, right? He was actually coached for us, coached me as a defensive back, came out of Rio Linda, and then decided to go to the academy and join our team. And what a great asset he is to this, to our department and this team.
Another handoff. Michael Booth, short gain. Robert Swanger on the tackle. Swanger, the longtime Fire veteran, Sac City Fire Department, and 2020 Hall of Fame inductees. Our congratulations to Robert and his family. Great honor.
Yeah, it was fun talking to him at the breakfast. He gets it, right? He's been around for so long. He understands it. He's still, I'm a little jealous because he still gets to play in this game. But nice chat.
Sloan's pass is tipped at the last second. Tipped away by Nicholas Gutierrez. Gutierrez out of the Forest Hill area. Sloan had a nice touch on that ball, but Gutierrez made a play.
Yeah, you know what? Nice. You sort of get caught in nowhere land there, and he was backpedaling, and I thought, well, it might get over his head, but was able to just get a couple fingertips on it.
Defense, number 29. After distance to the goal, first down.
And you know what they're going to call here is that I think the other defensive back or the safety sort of laid out the receiver at the end, and they're going to call that. Which is there just another reason, Doug, why I don't think I can play this game anymore. Right? That looks perfectly fine to me.
Well,
the rules have changed so much.
They have changed
what I'm getting
so
at.
much. You are right.
I thought somebody threw the red flag. I thought we were going to replay.
Or a challenge, but we will have neither. Handoff and into the end zone. A touchdown for the Law. Michael Booth doing the honors. And the law enforcement takes a 6-3 lead.
Well, I hate to say it, but I think Law will sort of figure this out, right? Is that if Fire's just gonna sit there with just 3 big guys in the middle, that they're gonna put some power on them and use their big offensive line, who's well schooled right now to just move this ball methodically down the field.
Extra point attempt. Sloan to hold. Scott Brown to kick it through.
And you'll see right here in this replay, they just sort of blow out the D-line guys. It's just a huge push by the offensive line from from Law. Awesome job.
Here's something we bet you didn't know. Nearly half of all cancers can be prevented. That's right, half. Nearly 50%, mostly by making small everyday changes in your diet and controlling your weight, walking more, eating less, and eating foods that help you and your family to seriously reduce the risk of cancer. And of course, by not smoking. Visit the Cancer Prevention Together We Can website and get a free 30-day planner filled with tips, recipes, stats, and more about protecting your family. Go to prevent50.org.
Here at Hornet Stadium, Michael Booth putting the law enforcement side on the scoreboard. They now lead this game 7-3. So now that the law side has assumed control, be the Fire opportunity here.
Sort of impressive drive for Law. And shows just some of their strengths, and I think what happens after the first couple series, and we all know this, first couple series you see what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then you sort of play to them. Well, I think you see that Fire doesn't have that stamina or the ability to actually stop the run.
Short intermediate kick taken by Steve Source, a combination quarterback wide receiver. So the Fire will start out 1st and 10 at their own 29-yard line. 6:58 to go before halftime. It's the Law 7 and the Fire 3. Law scoring drive, 67 yards on 16 plays. So, Greg, a pair of lengthy scoring drives for each team thus far.
And speaking from experience as a defensive back, I do not like those long scoring drives because they sort of tire you out.
Handoff
to Castro.
Picks up several. Nathan Castro out of Hollister. Give him 2 on the play. Both sides, Greg, rather deliberate at this point. Fake to Castro. Fake to Castro, and the quarterback holds on to the football. Rodarte.
So I'm not sure you're going to see too much of that from Rodarte, but Rodarte's sort of a big kid. It was impressive standing next to him today, but he's running that read option, just sort of reading what the defense is going to give him, and sometimes you got to tuck it and run.
3rd and 1, and Rodarte picks up the first down. just across the 40-yard line. Saw where he had to get to and got to it.
Move the chains.
So the Fire drive continues. Clock continuing to run.
You could tell Fire timeout.
Flags all over the place.
Before the snap. Timeout. Law enforcement. They're 2nd and a half.
So the law takes a timeout.
Well, yeah. Hey, what's going to go on here is Fire's going to just pick up the tempo, right? If you can't, you can just pick up the tempo and increase this, and you're going to catch people coming on and off the field. And that's what happened there. And law enforcement was smart enough. I think Merrill put it up and called the timeout really quick just to slow down his pace. This game's always been completely different in the second half because of the stamina effects, right, of what happens in the first half of this game and how you can continue to put that effort out in the second half. And usually, right, law enforcement's had the huge advantage just based on the number of players they've had. And now Fire with a stealth roster this year, they're going to be back in that ball game. They'll be able to probably hang a little bit tougher than they have in the past years.
Well, it's been a very competitive contest thus far. And I agree with you, Greg. I think the fact that the roster size for both sides is pretty much equal, that they're going to be able to rest some guys in and out in the second half. And I suspect we'll see a tight contest the whole way throughout. Ready to resume play here. 1st and 10 at the 41 for the Fire. Merrill battling the man in front of him, doing a great job. Both guys, Chris Peterson.
You know what an impressive play. And 6'6", 280, right? Merrill was actually dealing with the person in front of him and shedding him, and reached out with one paw and sort of grabbed the runner as he tried to run underneath him. So nice play, just shows his talent. And I think the first year he played, we were like, wow, what a player.
Rodarte being flushed out of the pocket, and now he just throws it away. Smart move that time by Rodarte. He was getting a lot of heat from Jamie Morris. Morris very quick for a man of his size.
Yep.
So that sets up a 3rd and 12 for the Fire.
I got to tell you this. Seeing Morris the last couple of weeks, and he's dropped a few LBs, which helps him out. It's made him a little bit quicker. Still very imposing, but probably has a better stamina level and a little more quickness.
Snap to Rodarte. Pass is caught right at the midfield line. We'll see if he has enough for the first down. Going to be tight. Fire team fired up. Got a replay coming up here.
It's just a nice throw. Right on the money. I think Garth Kiefer did a good job of playing defense.
And he ends up getting enough for the first down. So 1st and 10, just on the law side of the field at the 48.
And Garth has the name of Stas on his back, our officer from Rancho Cordova that was killed in the line of duty, representing him, a friend of his.
Hand off to Kleefeld, and not much there. In fact, he will lose a couple.
The thought process, sort of going back to that, the thought process of these guys that are so unselfish that they're putting names of their fallen brothers on the back of their jerseys to support their families or to acknowledge that they have not forgot about them is really, it's amazing to see, and it's actually warms your heart thinking about these are the people that are serving our community. It's pretty cool to think about. Screen.
Pass complete to Josh Thoming.
Nice recognition by everybody on the law defense there. Rutledge did a good job of holding on and making the play, but you can see that screen coming from up here pretty easily. I never saw it that quickly down on the field for some reason.
For some reason,
yeah.
And I can't imagine what that might be.
About 300. Yeah. That's good though.
Greg Myers signals for a resumption of play. Down to 3.5 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Coach Banning calling a timeout here.
Yep.
Slowing it down.
Sure looks that way. You know, Greg, I remember a few years ago, Sac State in the Causeway Classic wore Coach Mattos's number, or name, I should say, on all of their uniforms. Bob Mattos, the late great head coach at Sacramento State.
I had the pleasure of being on the radio at KFBK back in the day, doing those games and getting to know him pretty well, along with the great Knapp, right, back in those days. And
sure.
It's actually how I met Chris Palmer, and now our chief, my ex-SWAT partner, and right, just some good quality times. But Bob Mattos lived out by me, and his family is still out in my community and doing things and running golf tournaments for him as well. And Coach Mattos coached us with the Surge and the Gold Miners, I believe, back in the day as well. Yep. So got to know him.
Who did you do the Sac State games with? Was
Tim
that
Roy.
Tim Roy?
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever happened to, oh yeah, he's that guy that's got 3 rings from the Golden State Warriors. Not bad.
Hello, Tim. How are you?
A good man. You know, his son Zach is an assistant on the football team here.
Oh, good to know.
Handles video, I believe. Rodarte looking around, and he's going to be brought down. Rodarte brought down again in the backfield. Morris, Jamie. So Rodarte may want to think about going to the other end. He's not getting a lot of help from his mates on defending Mr. Morris.
And Morris is just coming right up the middle and just holding in there and doing a great job.
Rodarte had visions of possibly throwing the ball, but thought better of it.
But look at this formation. You would think something's going to come out to the right here. Obviously, I say that on purpose, right? Because as soon as you stack 4 receivers on the right side of the field, you know you basically got one-on-one on the other side of the field. And it's usually a pretty good odds as a receiver to go one-on-one in hopes you can out-jump the guy and get the ball. But one thing there, you got to throw the ball in bounds.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Rodarte just threw it way, way, way out of bounds that time.
I used to yell that stuff on the field, and the players would look at me and they're like, "How do you know where they're throwing the ball?" Right? And I'm like, "Oh God, I don't know. Maybe 20 years of experience.
Maybe.
I don't know."
Not to mention that great undergraduate education at the University of Southern California. Yes. So the ball goes over to the Law. Pass is complete to Farrow. That combination working very well.
Yeah, they look very comfortable together.
Sloan to Farrow.
I'm thinking right now, I better not say it. Right, we're like Tom Brady, Edelman combo, but I forget where I'm at sometimes.
Is that dope or what?
Be interesting to see if Mr. Brady returns to New England. He would look funny in any other uniform.
No, yeah, I can't even picture it, to be honest with you.
Handoff to William Robinson. Second down and 6, under 2 minutes to go here in the opening half. Law trying to mount a drive from the Fire 36-yard line. Sloan's pass batted down at the line of scrimmage. Nice defensive play by the Fire. Both teams, Greg, look remarkably fresh, and I think a lot of that has to do with the increased roster size for the Fire guys, running players in and out, both teams.
Right, and I didn't check before the game. I don't know what were the lengths of their quarters, but were they 15 or 12?
12. It's 12-minute quarters.
I love it.
Yeah. See, you knock 3 off this quarter, and 3 out of that.
No, it makes a huge difference.
I'm sure it does.
Oh,
Chase
nice,
Sloan
Chase.
back to pass. Nice fake. Puts the ball up for grabs. Oh. And it's caught. It's caught for a touchdown.
Great catch.
Tremendous grab.
Will Fossil.
Will Fossil, 6'3", 245.
And he's that's one of our tight ends, right?
Yep.
He goes up and just taps it back to himself. Wait till you see that. What just a nice play. Jace did a great job of eluding one blitzing outside linebacker and making a play downfield.
Get some yardage on that in just a moment. "36 yards officially, and it's official because Will James says it's official." Doing a great job with our stats up here. Scott Brown to try the extra point. And it's good.
All right, watch this. Eludes one, blitzing, outside backer. Just throws it up there, going, hey, I got a one-on-one again.
Perfectly thrown ball, grabbed at the 3, and an easy jaunt into the end zone.
I love the confidence there. Like he had it all the way. It's perfect.
No doubt you're going places, young lady.
Thank you. And thank you for the interview as well. I can imagine it was the last thing that you wanted to do after such a long campaign meeting.
You really are a very intelligent young woman. You're very smooth.
You're very smooth yourself.
You have no idea.
As we return to action, kickoff by the Law, taken at the 18-yard line. Nice return up the right-hand sideline by Steve Source. His nickname is Confidential, in case you're wondering. 14-3, the Law on top. For Sloan, 5 out of 9 for 90 yards, including the 36-yard touchdown pass just a moment ago. Rodarte is 5 of 15 for 56. We have a minute and 19 to go before the half. Should tell you that the good folks at Comcast are having some technical difficulties, so the game will be shown in its entirety at 8 o'clock tonight. You wouldn't want to miss a moment of this broadcast.
Well, somehow I know where I'll be at 8 o'clock tonight.
Rodarte's pass is intercepted. Intercepted by the Law. Jason Rutledge. Rutledge with a nice return. So the Law with an opportunity to add to a 14-3 lead. They got a minute and 9 to do so.
Well, we started talking about those mistakes, and I knew they were going to come back and haunt. They'll come back. Each side is going to have their share of mistakes. It just depends what they're going to do here. Yeah, if it shows that the outside receiver just doesn't even think the ball is coming to him, so he just peels off, and safety's just sitting over the top.
Yeah, the intended receiver.
Actually, Doug, you know what? I could have used a few more of those passes in my career.
You got a fair amount on your own, my man. Kleefeld was the intended receiver, and as you said, he peeled off the route. So it's a 1st and 10 at the 37.
Where you got the wheel route.
Sloan's pass is incomplete. Intended for Farrell.
That's definitely an out and up or the wheel route, whatever you want to say. And you know, Sloan's just slapping his hand right there going, hey, I missed you. I'm sorry, because he was wide open. That's a tough play, right? I mean,
sure.
the outside guy does a quick dig on the inside, and the corner sucks down onto him, and the inside slot receiver goes out and then up the field. If the safety doesn't see it, you're wide open. That's like one of those plays that you just have to see it often enough in practice, and I guarantee these guys just don't get those reps.
Sloan back to throw again. Airs it out across the middle, almost intercepted. Tipped by the Fire.
That was Kay also doing a good job. He's trying to get a second of the day.
Yep.
Maybe we should throw away from that guy.
That would be a good idea. That would be a good idea.
Yeah, he looks very impressive out there. He's running around making the right reads and breaking on the ball. So if I was Sloan, I might clue in on number 56 a little bit better.
So it's a 3rd and 10 now for the Law. Sloan, pass is complete, but wrapped up immediately is the receiver, Andrew Earhart.
There's a flag on the play here. That's interesting on the screen. I don't even know where they're going with this call. Holding, offensive holding.
Offense, number 75. Players declined. Result of the play, 4th down.
Now, I never proclaimed to be the smartest guy in the room, right? If you're running a screen, you sort of want the guy to run by, you know. You don't need to hold him.
That's true.
This is what I'm getting at.
Yep. So the Law takes a timeout and does so with 47 ticks remaining here in the second quarter. 14-3 your score. The Law Enforcement in front. The Fire opened the scoring with a field goal, but Booth on a 7-yard run and Fossil with a 36-yard pass from Sloan have put 2 scores on the board.
You know what I forgot to mention, and it just escaped my mind when we were talking about it, is that when the players on both sides, both the Fire and Law, were raising money, you know what? The cheerleaders, right, have been a huge part of this game. They did exactly the same thing. And it got brought up in our breakfast this morning that the cheerleaders raised the 2nd most amount of money. So good for them. God bless them. And we'd love to have them part of this game. It makes such a huge difference to have people out here supporting and cheering this crowd on.
Well, the important thing, Greg, is that not just the players and the cheerleaders, but there are so many people who contribute to the success of this game, who work very much behind the scenes. Jay Sloan being forced out, completes it to Vincent Manawa. All 155 pounds of him.
So lots of yelling going on because this is going to be a hurry-up type deal. There's 33 seconds left, and we're just going to,
Yep. Spikes it intentionally.
Manawas, I love him, right? He's a small little guy out there on the field. Comes to practice, been playing in this game for years, and has done a great job. And they said he looked good this year. This is him, like right over the middle, just catching it. Sloan does a good job of just rolling out to his right and throwing back across the field, which is dangerous, but Manawas is right there in the middle. I might be a little partial because he's a huge SC fan, so I like him. He's a good kid. How come we say that? The older we get, everybody's a kid, right? They're all grown adults. I get it.
Yep. Sloan looks around. He's going to run it.
Oh, boy.
Not a lot to gain, but...
So they're going to have to get back to the line of scrimmage, make a play here. Hopefully they called 2 plays in the huddle.
Yep, they sure did. Sloan, clock ticking at 10.
Might run that wheel route again, I'll tell you that.
Ball start. Offense, number 9. 10-second rule. Results in halftime is over.
That's right. That's one of those rules, too, that I don't know anything about. Right?
Well, they refer to it as a 10-second runoff.
Yep.
Not a rule I'm particularly in favor of, frankly, but...
Yeah, why can't you burn a timeout?
Yeah.
Say, hey, let me use a timeout then.
I don't know why either.
Give me 6 seconds.
We have reached halftime of the 46th Pig Bowl, Guns and Hoses variety. It is the Hogs of Law Enforcement 14, the Fire Dogs of the Fire Departments 3, and we will be back after this.
Copy.
Lauren, let's take it to you.
Well, I'm here with the leader of the Fire Dogs. Coach, one half done. How do you feel about your team's performance thus far?
Oh, I mean, I feel pretty good about it. Obviously, we've made some mistakes in a game like this. That's going to happen. We got to limit turnovers, obviously, right? But when you got such few days to practice, right, we try to be aggressive. Sometimes I'm a little overly aggressive, but that's all right. Like, being safe isn't going to win this game, right? But I feel like our defense is playing well. Offense has put them in a couple tough positions, right? We took a shot on 4th down. You always second guess yourself, right? If you get the first down, you're a genius. If you don't, then you're a moron, right? So it's just one of those things. But I feel pretty good about where we're at. We just need to get some momentum back on offense like we had on the first drive. I think we'll be fine.
Coach, you talked about your defense playing really well, which they are right now. What's going to be the offensive adjustment that your team needs to make coming out in the second half?
You know, I think we need to keep it simple, right? We all coach high school football. We coach together, so we're trying to dial up a lot of, really fancy plays, trying to get guys open in a really creative way. I feel like I was just talking to my staff. We just need to keep it simple. Like, do stuff that we think the quarterback can execute really well. We've been running the ball really effectively, and I think just keeping it simple and keeping the chains moving is going to be the key to the second half.
Awesome game, Coach. Good luck in the second half. Back to you.
Thank you, Lauren. Good competitive game here, Greg.
Yeah, and you know what? I had that same conversation with Coach Banning prior to the game at the breakfast this morning. We talked about it. He goes, "Yeah, I'm used to running these complex offenses at Folsom, and we just don't have the time to get everybody on the same page to accomplish those things." So he goes, "Hey, we talk about cutting it down to like 10 plays and just running those successfully."
Good counsel from the head coach. It is so tough to compartmentalize in such a short amount of time when you're trying to, get guys on the same page very quickly. It is now halftime. The law enforcement leading 14-3, and we'll be back after these messages.
These are cool. Did you, what did you?
Bye-bye. Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Selfie. Nailed it.
Staring contest. You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
There's a quiet battle happening on our streets. Pedestrians are acting indestructible. And drivers act like they own the road. They're both wrong. Be aware, be alert. Pedestrians don't have armor. A message from the California Office of Traffic Safety.
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, take another.
We're the rise to every challenge type. The nothing is impossible type. The type that knows the time will come when we put type 1 behind us. We're the plan for a cure type. The improve life along the way type. The type that will stop at nothing until type 1 becomes type none.
We are at halftime of the 46th annual Pig Bowl, Guns and Hoses variety. Doug Kelly along with Greg Coet and Lauren Goodman along the sidelines. Got a very competitive game here in the first half, which the law enforcement leads 14-3 as the spectators here at Sacramento State, and there are a lot of them being entertained by the always good halftime show put on here. And Greg, your assessment of the first half.
Well, I was excited at first, right, because the Fire came out and they did a great job of driving down the field and putting some points on the board, even though they got only 3 out of it. They got some points out of the board. They had a good, sustainable drive, and I thought, oh, here we go. And then, of course, we talk about mistakes, and some of those points got put up on the board because of mistakes going the other direction, and hence the score being 14-3 right now, I believe.
That would be correct, sir, and we see a demonstration of the canine dogs out here. Those are not folks to be messed with.
No, and I had the pleasure just the other day, because these guys work for me, and I went out to their testing procedures and watched all the new candidates go through a testing process with these dogs, and they let a couple of the dogs out and running around me, and I got very nervous because I've happened to have a wonderful encounter with one of our canines that he took a big chunk out of my leg, and so I'm a little nervous when I get around them, but they do a great job, and they're completely under control. And right now we just have one of the so-called bad guys that's running, basically training these dogs to go take a bite and take the subject into custody, and right, they give him a command, he bails out and comes back to the officer. So great job. They're really a great asset for us, and it takes a lot of training to get them up to speed, but what a great, amazing asset.
How old are the dogs when they begin training?
Oh, 2-3 years old. I think you can get them in that, but we have a dog that's getting up there in age, 10, 11 years, and right, you can see it on the dog. It's a lot of work for these dogs. They're very high drive dogs, and they put out a lot of energy, but we have a variety of different, just like us humans, right? There's a variety of different attitudes on these dogs, and it's what you get, but amazing noses on these dogs, and I'm gonna have the pleasure to work with some of our explosive canines here in the near future, and they do a great job of just recognizing scents and being able to just go up to a package or go up to something that they recognize and just take a seat, notify the officer that there's something in here that's not right.
Not as it should be is
Correct.
What you're getting at. Yes,
Yep.
sir. Well, here we are at halftime, and that, Greg, as you know, is always the opportunity for the Hall of Fame inductees to be introduced to the crowd, and we have 7 new members of the Pig Bowl Hall of Fame being inducted today, and they include Frankie Collins, the longtime coach of the law team, Greg, a guy you played with, Jose Whitfield, Ron Bosworth, Ernie Daniels, Nick Yarnan, Scotty Scott, and Robert Swanger, a player Hall of Famer, all at one fell swoop. What do you recall about Jose? he was pretty darn good.
Yeah, Jose's that guy, right? And Jose's just got this jovial attitude, comes out and has a great time, and always did a great job of running down and catching, right? Using his speed on the outside to run those in routes. I remember for 3 years in a row, we ran the same exact play to Whitfield for the first play of the game, and I think we scored on it 2 out of the 3 years. So it's just one of those players that can go out and he doesn't. On the practice field, you always think, I can cover this guy, and then you get into full speed tempo, and you're like, nope, I don't have that speed to stay with him. And just was a stunning athlete and did a great job. And he's a lieutenant with our department. He's moved his way up the chain, and he was one of the guys this morning that's doing what we all have started to do, and that's giving back to this game. And he was in the kitchen cooking and putting things together for the players. So it's good to see. Frankie Collins, right, was the coach. He's been the coach for 20-something years and has battled his liver and kidneys over the years and struggled, and he's stepped away from the game a couple years ago, and I believe he moved away, and he flew in just for this ceremony today. So Frankie Collins did it. Everyone will remember Frankie Collins when they talk about the breakfast, because he used to give this breakfast speech that they didn't really allow it to take place in the church, if you know what I mean. So he was that motivational guy that got us going and inspired us to come out here and play this game.
Well, I certainly remember Ernie Daniels, because he was part of the 2000-2004 U.S. Olympic trials that were held here. Long-time law enforcement veteran and a really, really nice man. And I'll tell you, Greg, you look at all the people, the men and the women that are members previously inducted into the Hall of Fame, and some really big names that stand out. Walt White, whom you know well, Jeremy Crawford, who continues to play for the Fireside. Of course, our good friend Gene Chapman, whom we miss so much. And you talk about Mr. Pig Bowl, he was it.
And you know what? Sort of talk about that tradition and stuff that we do in that morning breakfast. It's pretty amazing that Captain Barnes has promised these players, and guys that have been given so much to this game, Gino Chapman, and right above him on our list is Bob Denham, right? Well, Gino passed away a couple years ago, and Captain Barnes said he would never not have him miss a breakfast. And so we still have a recording from him in his final year that we played this morning at the breakfast, basically calling us his kids and saying to have a good game and be safe out there, and I'll miss you, right? And if you guys don't know, Bob Denham was one of our chiefs that lived out by me and golfed with me and has done a lot for this game, and basically was the organizer of that morning breakfast. Well, Bob Denham passed away this year, and it was interesting to come back out this year and use. I think his wife gave Captain Barnes his notes on how he put this game together, this breakfast together, and handed it to Barnes. And Barnes called people, and next thing you know, we had all the same people back involved this morning. Everybody there. We named the kitchen Denham's Kitchen this morning, and that's the tradition that's missing, right? That we need to continue to push forward. And Captain Barnes does a great job. On the TV, if you're watching that's one of the first guys I ever met when I joined this department, and it's Ron Bosworth, and he worked at the jail. I think he was a sergeant at the jail when I was there. Just amazing man that right, I haven't seen in years, and I saw him this morning at the breakfast, and I was like, it's good to see you.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. And at the same time, we should take a moment to recognize 3 hard-working members of the Pig Bowl committee who are also Hall of Famers: Judy Mason, Sue Paulson, and Steve Johnson. Steve Johnson's voice you hear is the public address announcer here, and Judy and Sue put together the game program so well, and three good friends of ours, and nice to acknowledge them, as well as all of the Hall of Famers, who each one has his own individual story.
Yeah, it's funny because in this year's program, of course, they have last year's inductees, which I was lucky to be part of, and next to it is Chris Palmer, and then Daniel Hahn, and Chief of Police from the city. And remember the games we used to play against them, and some of the players, and Coach Clefield is in there as well. So what a memorable time. I still have the plaque sitting up at home, and it just sort of reminds. I came, and I think you said you were an inductee a couple years ago, and I was like, no, that was last year. Time flies, right? But
right.
I mean, it's such a special moment. And once again, it's just what this committee has done to build that tradition and build a legacy. 46 years this has gone on, right? You cannot buy tradition, right? It comes after years of doing this game, and you can only build on it. And I think they've done a great job of doing these types of things to recognize the players that established this back in the day.
Well, Greg, this game is one of the things that brings all of Sacramento and the greater Sacramento area together as a community. And if nothing else, that is so important in this day and age.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm saying goodbye to my daughter, and she's very impressed by the fact that I'm talking on air with you. So it's very nice, right? I think those are the type of that's what you're thinking about, right? Is that it's about family, it's about the community, it's about what this whole process is about, and if I can include my family in it, even better. So.
Yeah, the Hall of Famers continuing to come onto the field. You know, Jim Barnes has really done a tremendous job with this game. He did a great job before he was running it, and now that he is running it, it's gone on to even greater heights.
Well, you know what? I remember Captain Cooper at the time, now Assemblyman Cooper, was running the game, and Barnes was a player rep, and at some point in time he talked me into being the player rep and taking over for him, and I spent a handful of years doing it, and just as the player rep, it's a lot of work, right? And we know that. But actually going back and running it and being able to change what the current process is and getting people to buy into that process and spending money to make money and making it look professional you know what he's done. I told him, I pulled him off the side this morning, and I go, hey, you hit a home run and you're hitting out. He goes, I promised people I'd get this game to 50 years, right? So that's his goal. He's really goal-driven, goal-oriented. He tells you the why we're doing things and why we're here, and it's not about us. It's about this and this game and this process, and I think people need to hear that, right? And it's those that don't understand or don't want to know the why. These players, now that they know the why and why we're doing it, we're getting the buy-in from Fire. We're getting the buy-in from their coaches, and they're participating, and they're bringing more players to the game. And when you bring more players, what happens? You bring their families out to this game, and you bring more people from the community. So it becomes that whole win-win-win situation. And it's a recipe for success, and it's not hard to do unless you're in his position, because it's a lot of work. And God bless him for doing all this stuff that he does to make this successful. And he's that type of person. So it's been amazing to watch. And I shake my head. You know, he lives in my neighborhood. He's the dad of the year all the time. I go, hey, stop doing the things you're doing because you're making us all look bad, right? He's that guy.
Yeah.
And he has time to do all this other stuff. So I don't know where he finds the time, but he does, and he does a great job at it.
A few more Hall of Famers coming out, and I believe old number 80, we know who he is. That is Jose Whitfield.
I love that jersey he's got on, because I know from experience that's the 25th anniversary jersey, right?
Let's take it down now to Lauren Goodman on the sidelines with an interview.
Well, now I'm here with the leader of the Hogs, Coach. You guys had a very strong first half. How do you feel your team performed?
I thought we played very well. We did make some mistakes, as always in this game. When you've got a one-game season, there's mistakes here and there. Hopefully we could clean up some of them at halftime, but I was pretty pleased with the effort.
Your line dominated the Fire, was able to really get contact on the quarterback. What defensive aggressiveness are you going to come out with in the second half?
Well, we got to make sure that we cover their outside receivers, do a little bit better job than that. If we do that, we'll be able to turn those guys loose up front and get some more pressure on him.
Now, I know you had the extended halftime, got to get guys warmed up. What is the biggest thing you want to see out of your team coming out in this third?
Be able to play with some emotion in the second half. It's hard with the long halftime, and it's just, they're not used to playing football games. They just only have one game a year. So, see if we can come out with some emotion in the second half.
Great first half, Coach. Good luck in the second. Back to you.
Thank you, Lauren. As the halftime ceremonies continue here at Hornet Stadium, the law enforcement leading the ball game 14-3, as we now see Rob Swanger and his family walking to the middle of the field, along with Jeremy Crawford, a previous Hall of Fame inductee. Swanger, one of the few players to be inducted into the Hall of Fame while still an active player. Pretty amazing. Jeremy Crawford out there with him. You know, Greg, this is just such a fun time to be able to see stuff like this, and I feel very privileged to be a part of this great effort.
You know what? There was nothing better, and they've sort of put a little stop to it, but over the years. But there was nothing better than after these games, win or lose, that your family would pour out of the stands onto the field, and there'd be this hour-long process of just talking to people and seeing your family and taking pictures with your friends and your family. And that stuff is stuff that you can never forget, right? You can't unforget the good moments and the good times. And as a player, that's what it's about, right?
We'll take a look at the halftime stats here. Rush yards, the Hogs 51-14. They also lead in passing 103-56. 154 total yards for the Hogs to just 70 for the Fire. Each team with a turnover. And, of course, Greg, as you mentioned, not the most efficient of contests. 9 penalties between the two teams. 5 on the Fire for 55, 4 on the Hogs for 50. But most of that was in the early stages when everybody was kind of feeling out the situation. And we've had a relatively clean game in second quarter forward.
Yeah, these guys love each other. You know what I mean? They're not out there to hurt each other. They're out there to play a game. They're just being competitive and having a good time. And I think some of those penalties were emotional penalties of just, hey, we've been hitting our own guys for a month now. Now we get to hit somebody in red or somebody in black and white and having fun doing it, right? I always used to tell people there is nothing better than to be able to hang up those cleats and take them back off the shelf and know that you can right a wrong that you might have done back in your high school days, right? And make a big play and do something. The excitement of that sort of gets you going. And these players try to make everything happen all in that first series. So you saw some penalties, and I think everybody sort of calmed down. And it's one of those deals, right? If you run as hard as you can into a tree, that tree's not going to move, right? And you realize pretty quick if you're smart, right? And some of us aren't that smart, but if you're smart, that hurts, right? So same thing out here. There's some big guys on this field, and if you run as hard as you can and hit them as hard as you think you can, and you don't budge them, maybe I'm going to run around that guy next time, and you'll figure that out for the second or third series. So,
well,
I never figured that out, by the
way. You're far too hard on yourself, my man. 14 for the Hogs, 3 for the Fire. Let's take a break, and we will be back to Hornet Stadium after this.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
My new mom and I have a lot in common.
The great outside.
We both love the outdoors.
So shiny.
That's not a flower. We both love geology.
Oh, look. An igneous one.
That's not a rock. And she knows a lot about wildlife.
A labradoodle.
That's not a dog. Hanging out has been kind of fun.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Your score, the Law Hogs 14, the Fire Dogs 3. We're about ready to begin the third quarter, and let's go down now to Lauren Goodman with an interview with Jose Whitfield.
Well, I'm here with Hall of Famer now, Jose Whitfield, got inducted this year, 2020. What does it mean to be in this game's Hall of Fame?
You know, it's just very special to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. I played for the Pig Bowl for 14 years, and it was a a real challenge because of the, just injuries and stuff like that. But other than that, it's a great event, and I had an awesome time, and I just love the support that we have, and it's for a charity and all that. So it was a real great experience for me.
Can you talk to me a little bit about the brotherhood? You see everybody pretty much having fun, talking to each other, knowing each other. Obviously, we know you guys are working for 2 different departments, but it seems like it's real continuity and brotherhood between the 2 of you guys. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
I really didn't see the brotherhood until actually 3 years ago when I first stopped playing, actually at the team breakfast, because we invited the fire department over to the team breakfast. And then I started to see the brotherhood, to where both teams were there, and it was just an amazing event to have fire and law in the same facility without this being a challenge. It was just an amazing experience for me, because they all got along, they all talked. It was just a beautiful experience.
That's amazing. Now, 14 years, Hall of Fame now. Can you tell me about one of your probably most memorable moments in the Pig Bowl?
Well, like I said, I started back in 1998. My first experience in the Pig Bowl was one of the cornerbacks got hurt for the Sacramento Police Department, and the coach called me in as a receiver for offense. I'm like, okay, I'm going in. And I didn't know what to expect. They just said run straight and run fast, and I'm like, okay, I did. And I caught my first touchdown was 32 yards from Drew Wyant, and from that point on, I was named as One Play Jose, because that was my only play in the game.
Well, it seems like you had amazing time here, and you're enjoying yourself now that you're not playing. Congratulations on being in the Hall of Fame in the Pig Bowl. Thank you for spending a lot of time with us. Back to you.
Thank you, Lauren. Always fun to hear Jose Whitfield talk about one play Jose. I love it.
He makes himself sound like Rudy Rudiger, but he's more than that, believe me. That one play led to a lot of plays, and starting and being a leader on this team and doing a fantastic job. And yes, he was very fast and did a great job of running underneath the ball.
Fire attempting an onside kick to open the third quarter. And they seem to think they have the ball, but there is a penalty flag down. We'll let them unpile, and Fire thinks they have it.
I like that. The Fire guys just need to turn around and look at the flag on the field. They might be a little disappointed in themselves. It's probably usually when it's right there from that line judge, it's going to be an offsides on the kicking team, but we will see.
Referee Craig Myers trying to sort it all out, and he'll let us know what's
going to go on. If they hand
here.
the tee back to the kicker and he's walking onto the field, that's a clue, I think.
Number 55, 5 yards, re-kick.
Pure experience, I guess. I don't know.
Well, 55 is listed as Jordan Glass, but we know he's not playing today, so somebody else wearing that uniform. A little premature, so they'll try it again, this time from the 30-yard line. Just underway here in the third quarter. If you're just stopping by, the law enforcement 14, so fire department's 3.
You would think the element of surprise is gone.
I would say so. Let's see here. Yep. Boots it away. Relatively short kick taken at the 11-yard line by Terrence McDonald. McDonald heading upfield. Flag on the play. McDonald all the way out to the 47-yard line, but we'll see what the flag is. Probably an illegal block of some sort.
Yep.
During the return, blocking the back, receiving team. Number 84, 10 yards from the 37, excuse me, first down.
Mr. Fossil caught.
Yep. Nullifying a 44-yard kick return.
You know, I will say, and everybody knows this, there's holding on every single play in football. It's just whether you get caught or not, right, or how efficient you are at doing it. So not a lot of practice these guys have had. So maybe extending the arm a little bit with a big clutch of clothing isn't a good thing to do. So.
Well, after all that, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Law from the 27. Sloan's pass, complete over the middle.
Farrow again.
Farrow again on the receiving end. be good for about 8 yards.
At some point in time, Fire's going to have to like sit down on him a little bit, and they're playing about 10 or 15 yards off of him, or they're taking the linebacker on that side, blitzing him, which leaves him. He's smart enough as a former quarterback just to sit down in that hole and wait for the ball to come out.
Give him 8, 2nd down and 2. Sloan looking over the defense. Running to his right, waiting for a man to come open. Alioto makes the catch.
Nice catch.
Got 1 foot down at the very end. Good job by Alioto. Another veteran of this Law team. Replay will.
It's awesome to watch.
Evidence the reception here.
You know what? Great defense too.
Yep.
It's just
1 foot, all you need.
Very nice route.
Yep.
Did a good job. He's just been playing right. He was playing when I was playing, so it's nice to watch guys that at least I know or I played with and know how they play.
How many years did you tee it up?
No, I'm so bad at math that I forget, but it was close to 20.
Handoff.
It's Kendall Chaplin.
Yep, Kendall Chaplin on the handoff. Nice cutback inside. All the way to the 45-yard line, so impressive start to this Law drive.
So Kendall works for me, right? And he looks like he's 12 years old, right? And I couldn't believe he was actually coming out for the Pig Bowl, but I watch him. He's an athlete. He's a soccer player. He went to the World Police Games where he got engaged to his wife to be, and right, lots of interesting stuff. And I still look at him and go, he's 12 years old, right? I mean, I can't believe, but he's not. But he just looks that way. But what a stud athlete! And I'm glad he's out here and experiencing this.
Well, that's good. And you and I have shoes that are 12 years old.
I know.
Pass is incomplete. Bringing up a 3rd and 1 for the Hogs. Hogs breaking out new space-age uniforms for this contest.
Right. As well as the Fire. The Fire were so impressed that they were coming out here in these brand new uniforms and helmets and cleats. And,
handoff.
Earhart.
1st down for Earhart. Plenty of yardage gain there, no doubt.
Talking to Coach Banning, he said that that they really bought in. He has a connection through Folsom High School with their Under Armour rep, right? So Under Armour stepped up to the plate, did a great job of getting these guys jerseys at cost and putting a website together where their family could order stuff and buy stuff online at a discounted price. And so much so that Captain Barnes looked into it and has already called them and talked to them about getting involved in this game and doing that for both sides to make it more affordable for the players and their families.
That would be great.
That'd be awesome.
Great. You know, can't say enough about Under Armour.
Right.
Sloan back to pass, unloads it, and is picked off. Picked off by the Fire. Nicholas Gutierrez with the pick. So a scoring drive by the Law comes to naught.
Yeah, that stop and go did not fool anybody, especially Gutierrez. You'll see he just sits back on it. The pump fake didn't do much. Might have been one where I just threw it over his head, got rid of it. I'm sure Sloan wants that one back.
Pass was intended for Terrence McDonald, but he really had no chance to make a play. That was all on Gutierrez. And he gets the ball back for the Fire. They'll open up 1st and 10 from their 16.
So you say Gutierrez, I say Gutierrez. I don't know which it is, but right, it's one of those names, right? Oh, they're going to call face mask, I think.
Justin Somerville, the ball carrier.
Personal foul. Horse collar tackle. Defense, number 11. 15 yards from the spot of the foul. 1st down.
Didn't have that when I was playing either. So.
Yeah. But they do now, and it's going to go against Tim Merrill. Yeah, there were a lot of things that are different from when you played. Face masks.
Well, no, the face mask penalty was still there.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean if they just had them on the helmet?
Yes, yeah. Yes. It accounts for your good looks.
I'm old, but not that old.
I know.
There's a single bar out there.
First and 10, Fire at the 31 after the penalty yardage assessed.
A little confusion on the offense. They're calling the plays at the line here, so.
Is that what's known as making it up as you go along?
I think they know what they're doing. It's just getting the right people in the right spots.
Pass complete. Run out of bounds on the Law side of the field.
So that's what they're doing, right? If we see that again, you'll see the slot receiver. There's nobody on him, so as soon as...
And there is a penalty on the play. Late flag on the near side. What would we have without penalties?
I know.
Face mask. Defense, number 48. This results in the helmet of Fire being taken off. He is allowed to stay in the game. 15 yards, first down.
A little aggression there, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere along the line.
Nonetheless, a lot of yardage being marked off here. And the Fire will have the football. Back-to-back 15-yard penalties. That'll shrink the field for you pretty quickly. Rodarte looking around, throws, and it's incomplete. Yeah, nothing like shrinking that field, Greg, if you can do it. They talk about short fields.
Yeah.
You want to avoid those at all costs.
Well, there used to be that whole if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying type mentality, but if you're getting caught, you better stop doing what you're doing, right?
Really?
That's 30 yards of penalty yardage right there. That's the only part of the drive that's been successful.
So we'll go to second down. Rodarte looking over the Law defense. 8:20 to go here in the third quarter. Rodarte with a keeper. Not much doing there. And yet another penalty. This one away from the ball. Referee Craig Myers being heard from a lot today.
Personal foul, face mask. Defense, number 24. 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
Garth Kiefer guilty of the face mask. So tack on another 15 yards. That's 45 yards in penalties on this drive.
I like it.
So the ball now at the 28-yard line of the Law. Fire trying to get back in this thing.
Well, keep getting 15-yard penalties, we'll be back. They'll be right back in the game.
Excellent point.
I would like to have that type of offense.
With insights like that, you should be on ESPN.
Yeah.
Rodarte's pass complete.
Nice play on both sides.
Somerville.
Yeah.
Clock continuing to roll. Fire in no apparent hurry, but just being very efficient when the Law is not being penalized. So an unusual game here, to say the least. Rodarte audibleizing. Looking to the bench for some help. Not sure what the thinking is here.
Wow.
Rodarte going for it all. Overthrown in the end zone.
Rutledge did a good job just sniffing that play out, just reacting to the ball, but they saw what they liked there.
Check it out on the replay here. It's about as far as Rodarte could probably throw the football, and he overthrows his receiver. Rutledge unable to haul it in either.
Well, guess what we have? Another 15-yard penalty running into the passer.
Ooh.
Another.
That would make it 60 yards on this drive.
You got outside my counting levels. Sorry.
That's all right.
My mathematical skills.
You know what you're doing, and that's the important thing. I don't think I've ever seen a series that featured 60 yards in penalties for the same team. So 1st and 10 at the 13. Prime opportunity for the Fire to get back in this game. They trail 14-3.
Well, Fire right now, they're going up to the line of scrimmage, seeing how the defense is lining up, and then the coach is calling in their plays based on their alignment right now. So,
Rodarte looking around, throws
another
way
flag.
incomplete, and another penalty. Tell you one thing, the officials are getting their workout in today, that's for sure.
They're gonna call something on Guthrie right there as a cornerback. Maybe they're saying he's holding or pass interference, but that ball was just thrown away.
Holding. Defense, number 22. Is on an eligible receiver. First down.
Dante Guthrie guilty of the hold. So that'll take it another 10 yards. 70 yards in penalties on this drive. Setting up a 1st and goal from the 6 for the Fire.
I'd go right back out to Guthrie there because that receiver's.
Rodarte.
Nope.
Pass incomplete.
Thrown to Somerville, but it's thrown out of the back side of the end zone. So.
Yeah, Rodarte was throwing that off the back foot. Never good. But Fire would not want to come away with just a field goal here. 2nd down and goal from the 6.
Hey, so last time we had this formation by Fire, right? You had 4 receivers on one side and the 1 receiver basically to the top of your screen now, and they went to that 1 solo receiver.
Rodarte back to pass, throws it out of the end zone, no good.
I think I could have played this game.
Fire pleading its case, but there was no question that he was out of bounds. Or beyond the end line, I should say.
He tried to drag that foot. I just think it was a little bit too long.
Will James correctly pointing out that the law is just grabbing, grab, as Vince Lombardi used to say. Horse collar penalty, 2 face mask penalties, roughing the passer, and holding. One more will give him a 6-pack.
A little short.
Yep. So setting up a 4th down situation. What will they do here?
Yeah, is it too early in the game to go for it?
I don't think so.
Are you in desperation mode? I don't know.
I'm not sure you're in desperation mode, but it looks like a timeout now being called. But Greg, they've had trouble scoring today, and you got to take an opportunity when you can get it. So a timeout on the field. 6:14 remaining in the 3rd. It's the law enforcement 14, the fire department 3. And we'll be back after this.
By now you should know. Drink and drive. Get a DUI. But did you know that some medication can get you one too? And never mix those pills with a pint. Check the label before you pop that pill. DUI doesn't just mean booze.
Okay, we're back. 4th down play for the Fire, and it goes virtually nowhere. 1st and 10 it'll be for the Law, which holds on 4th down. Greg, I thought that was an unusual play call by the Fire. That's not what I would have done. I would have tried to find somebody in the end zone.
Right, if you do a rollout or you do something, you give yourself some options right there. And I don't know if that's really what they're looking for, and there really hasn't been a power running game by Fire. So I don't know if that was a trick play. I really sort of lost track of it right at the beginning of it.
If I'm the Fire, I'm looking to create a turnover down here. It's 1st and 10 from the 3.
I don't know, you got a lot of opportunity right now with 6 minutes to go in the 3rd, right? Just to sort of pound some yardage out and bust some time off the clock and hopefully get first downs. Nope. It's a busted play is what that is.
Jace Sloan with the carry.
I can tell by the pure panic on Jace's face or in his body movements. It's like, oh, I was supposed to hand that ball off. Now I'm in trouble. And I'm running around my own end zone.
Never a good thing.
No. I miss the high school days where the broken plays turned into touchdowns, right? So.
Handoff. Not much doing there either. Andrew Earhart, the ball carrier. So a 3rd and 11 for the Law. They need a play here.
I don't know. You got to do a play here that makes sense and doesn't create a turnover.
Yep.
Right, and maybe gain some yardage. So you give right now you got to think about we might not get this first, but I need some room to kick the ball out of my own end zone and do something smart here. Don't settle. Don't get put in a position where you're creating options for the other team to get a safety or something.
Handoff up the middle.
Man.
Tackle for the Fire. Travis Stanfield. Excuse me, Michael Cullen. Michael Cullen on the stop.
So if these plays don't make you nervous, right?
Oh yeah, they make you plenty nervous, especially when you're punting it from the back of your own end zone. But a nice defensive stand by the Fire.
Yeah, and right, they're going to get the ball back. You talk about shortening the field up. That's exactly what's happened right now. This better be one of those, right, there's a lot of moving obstacles to this thing right here.
Kevin Lloyd with the boot. Takes a Law bounce. But still, good field position for the Fire at their own 47-yard line.
If you take into account the 10 yards depth in that end zone, that's a 62-yard punt. Yeah, I don't think you could ever ask for anything better than that.
Nope.
I had one punt. I punted once in a Pig Bowl game, and it went 67 yards. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, what did I do?
How much of it was hit and roll versus
it was just
in
one
the
of those
air?
perfect spiral punts.
I see.
It did roll, and
I got you.
Yeah, there was nobody back. They were trying to block it. So I'll take the stat.
There you go.
Right.
Net gain, 67 yards.
Yeah.
That would put you at the top of the stat sheet any day.
Yeah.
So 3 minutes and 48 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. The Law leading 14-3, and the Fire with the ball.
Nice play.
Rodarte's pass hauled in. Alex Worlds on the receiving end.
20. Might be Josh Thoming. 23.
Yeah, that's my bad. Correction. Josh Thoming
he's a good sized kid. So
yeah, he sure is.
It was a nice route, just an inside move route. Nice pick.
All the way down to the 36-yard line.
I know, playing in the game and then listening back to the broadcast in those days with you and Walt back in the days. And being able to watch it back the next day and go, God, those guys, they get these numbers wrong all the time, right? Well, that's because I know who's in the jerseys, right? And it's hard from up here, and we got the rosters sent to us this morning, right? It's one of those deals.
I had rosters in advance, but unfortunately,
some of the rosters,
the names aren't the people in the suits,
and that's what you get, right? That's part of this game, right?
We call it being fluid.
Yeah, that's a good word. I call it being patient sometimes, but I understand, and I guess I only correct you on the names and numbers sometimes if I know, but just because they're going to be sitting home at the TV much like I was going, no, that's me, right?
Feel free to correct, my friend. Rodarte's passing numbers, 6 of 17, 74 yards with an interception. So he's looking to improve on that, try and negotiate, or matriculate, I should say, the ball down the field.
All right, so the top of the screen, they got 3 receivers up there and nobody over the top of them.
Rodarte back to pass, got good time, completes to Brett Randall.
That's Ricky just making stuff happen because they were looking at the bottom, right?
Yep.
At the 2 receiver side, hoping something would pop open there. They just had more defenders there than they knew what to do.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 22, 15 yards, first down.
Well, I know it makes it a lot easier to tackle somebody when you grab that thing, but it's not working for him.
Now, Dante Guthrie guilty of the face mask. We'll attempt to get the Law penalty yardage here shortly. Renarde back to throw. Puts it up and caught. Was he inbounds?
Oh, they're going to call a touchdown from the...
Waiting on the officials. And it is ruled incomplete. Or is it? Let's wait and see.
Well, there's a penalty
on the play, too, yeah.
Maybe that's what they're working on, but he called it a touchdown. That was Sataming again. Is that how you say his name?
54, 2 seconds, 54. Touchdown. Doing a play. Unsportsmanlike. Number 72 of offense. 15 yards will be enforced at kickoff.
Michael DeBenito Brogard guilty of the personal foul, but it is a touchdown for the Fire.
Hey, nice play, nice reception, right? Great coverage.
Fire's coaches, they want to go for 2 here, try and cut it to a 3-point deficit.
Oh, this is one of those interesting 2-point plays that you don't practice. I guess they're going to line up in a normal formation. You got trips to the high side of the field. Wide open.
Looking for the 2-point conversion, and
it's good.
It's good. 8-point touchdown for the Fire, and we got a ball game at 14-11.
Hey, Doug, this is just trips to that north side of the field. This is a replay on the touchdown. Just a great, like I said, great route, good coverage. Just drug a foot, and he went up and took the ball away from Gunther right there. You know Gunther's going to be mad about that, but
sure.
That's perfect.
Check the yardage on the touchdown throw from Rodarte. So with 3 minutes and 8 seconds remaining,
we got a game.
We have a game. 14 for the Law, 11 for the Fire Dogs. Look at some of the young fans here taking in the football game.
I think what I'm going to do on that Law side is sit down and have a conversation with people, knowing that the biggest part of both those drives happen to be our lack of discipline right now, and the fact that we're giving them tons of yardage on personal fouls.
Yeah, the penalties on the Law have just been crippling. today. I mean, when you have 70 yards and penalties on one drive, that's sometimes a total for a team. Will James with the declaration that 85 yards and penalties against the law in this quarter alone. And folks, I can safely tell you I have never seen that. Kickoff to the law enforcement, running up the field.
Oh.
Good head of steam. Good head of steam. Looked like Jay Sloan. Looked like Jay Sloan that time. So the Fire scoring and the law attempting to bounce back.
But it looked like it was a very big collision, right?
Oh, it was
at the
definitely
end of
that. No question.
That's what it looked like.
It was that. But a 1st and 10 for the law at the Fire 45-yard line.
And I don't think there's that read option. And in all defense, Sloan's not your runner, so he's not returning kicks, right? It was probably Farrow, but those numbers are close. And just watching Sloan run, he doesn't really want to run the ball, I can tell, right? But he will on that read option. If it's taken away, he's going to turn it upfield and try to get some yards. But I'm not sure the law enforcement really wants to put him in a situation where he's running for 2 yards and get beat up along the way.
No need for that. Handoff, running to the right-hand side. Michael Booth with the carry.
So it's pretty obvious that Fire went in at halftime and made some adjustments on their run defense. And they're doing a much better job of just playing and staying home and playing their positions and making plays, shutting down the run.
Michael Booth got about all he was going to get on that run. Not a lot of help up front. Sloan's pass is complete to Farrow, right at the first down marker.
Yeah, they're marking it about a yard short of that first down, but this is nice. This has been here all day for him, pitch and catch type play, and Farrow's done a great job of catching the ball and just turning it upfield. They've tightened down a little bit. In the first half he was getting 15 yards on that play, and now he's getting 5. So.
Yep. Also a 4th and 1 for the law enforcement trying to keep this drive going.
Yeah, what do you do here?
Hand off to.
That's the big offensive line of law enforcement right there.
Earhart. Yeah, you're right, Greg.
They just
willed their way to a first down that time.
Yeah, that's a lot of mass right there is what that was.
Straight up the middle.
And it's an option read. You can tell by how long Jace holds on to the ball there, right? So he had the ability to pull that out and go around the edge. But why when you got to push like that from your offensive line?
So a 1st and 10 from the 32 for the law. Sloan hanging on to the football.
Read option, right?
We're under a minute here in the third quarter. Yeah, definite read option there, no question. And he saw a hole that he liked.
Yeah, it makes me nervous that both sides of or both teams are running the same sort of package or read option on it from their quarterback, which makes me really nervous in a game where you've only had like 15 to 18 practices is controlling that ball and not fumbling it.
Clock running down, get one more play in. And that'll do it for the third quarter. Let's go down to the field to Lauren with an injury update.
Well, for the Fire, on that last possession when they went for the 2-point conversion, Holland Rentz, who was the receiver on that play, got injured, maybe by the tackle or how he was hit at the end. They're actually looking at his left shoulder right now on the sideline. It should be a suspense if he's able to get back in the game. He has his pads off now, looking at his shoulder by the fire department med team on the sideline. Hopefully he'll be able to get back in this game. If not, his contribution was great today. Back to you.
Thank you, Lauren.
You know, that's part of this game is the injuries, and we don't talk about them very much. But I know, and we haven't mentioned his name today at all because, and I knew this going in, even though we mentioned him in the starting lineup, is Freddie Rodriguez isn't playing because he has a mild, well, probably not a mild, but like a third-degree separation of his shoulder that he happened in practice the other day. Talking to coaches from Fire, they said, hey, it's just part of the game, but you just don't expect it. First day of practice, nobody's in pads, they're just catching balls. They lost one of their players with a broken leg, right? So it's just what happens out here. I've had more injuries playing in this football game than I ever did playing college and professional football. So it's just one of those. I think we're older. We don't stay in shape all the time. Our body's not used to it. For me, it turns out just to pretty much be my tendons are going. You know, I think I did an Achilles tendon, a bicep tendon, and a shoulder injury, right? And it's just part of playing this game.
Hand off to Earhart.
Like you mentioned those things, I guarantee, right, none of these guys on the field would trade that, right? The ones that are out here playing, they're like, hey, that's a battle one. That's part of this game, right? I'm going to go to work the next day limping and with a cast on my arm. That's just part of the game. It is what it is. And at some point in time, you really know who your athletes or your warriors are based on whether they like those or they complain about those injuries, right? If you're showing your girlfriend or you're showing your wife your injury and you're proud of it, good for you. You can come play for me.
Hand off by the Hogs. Nice pickup for
Dariano defending on the play for Fire.
This is actually a nice play. I'm looking for his name on the roster, but I just don't see it. But a nice play by the safety on Fire, coming up from his deep middle of the field position and making that play. That's what you need from a safety, right? Is that quickness when you string out that those sweep plays when you string them out.
You also need the ability to barrel into a guy and make sure he goes no further.
Yeah.
That's why Ronnie Lott was such a great player.
Makes it a lot easier when they're running east-west.
Yeah. Sloan looking around. Let's get out of the field to Lauren Goodman.
Well, I'm here with the man who pretty much runs the show here, event coordinator, president Jim Barnes of the Guns and Hoses game. Can you just talk to me a little bit about this game and what it really means here?
Yeah, absolutely. This game is special to us. It's been 46 years in the making. Started in 1974, and for us to get back to the community over, I'd say 46 years now, $1.5 million, that's what's special to us. You saw at the beginning we granted a wish to Jasper, Make-A-Wish. It was something very special for us to be able to be part of that. But to get back to the community is what it is. We always say this is more than a game, right? You got a lot of people out here, a lot of competition, a lot of flare-ups, which you've seen, a lot of flags. But hopefully it's the environment, the experience that we want people to remember when they walk away, want to come back next year. It's one game a year, but it's something in this region. We're trying to build it to be something special where everybody wants to come.
Now, 46 years in the making, can you tell me something that was special about this 2020 season that maybe changed, you guys did more in, or something that you guys did different?
Well, the only thing differently we went is we partnered with Make-A-Wish, right? We went to a national name brand, something we wanted to do bigger than just a law enforcement and the fire perspective. It branched out. So we were able to do that. And to raise money this year, we're hoping to donate more than $70,000 to local charities, and that's what we want them to do this year.
This is obviously an intense game, major improvement on the Fire side to make it a competitive game, and it's been a history of streaks. Can you just tell me about how exciting it's been just to watch the games over the time you've been here?
No, it's been great. I will tell you, I played in this game for 12 years. I'm a Metro Fire Board of Directors, so I always try and stay neutral, but I love seeing the competitive nature, the fans having a good time and cheering. That's what this game's about.
Now, it's been all about community today. You guys got a kid area. Can you just talk to me about the community impact, seeing the kids here, watching you guys have camaraderie and really build together for the Sacramento area?
Yeah, absolutely. It's important to us to connect with the community outside of our day jobs, right? When they can see us in a non-enforcement capacity, see that we're humans, we have to put gas in our tanks, that we're humans, we're fathers, family, right? And that's what it is. So when they can see us in this environment, it's something special.
Well, we got an amazing game on our hands, and you're doing an amazing job yourself, Jim. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me.
Thank you very much for being out here.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Lauren. Scott Brown going for a field goal, but looked to me to be wide left. Greg, was that your thought?
My eyes aren't that good, Doug. So, yeah.
Well, nonetheless, it's no good.
Yeah, it's no good. I could see the umpire doing that.
So the Fire will now take over, trailing by 3 points. 14 for the Law Enforcement Hogs, 11 for the Firefighter Guns and Hoses, and boy.
I'm sensing just a little bit of anxiety over there on that law enforcement sideline, right? And people making mistakes, people nervous about what they're doing, and they're just not playing football. So gather yourself up, sit down, talk to your coaches, and put together.
Handoff.
Yep.
And another flag, multiple flags actually. Yeah, I think the anxiety level, Greg, is on both teams right now.
I don't know what to say because I love that. Whatever. I love aggressive football, and right, let's just get dirty and play this game and have a fun time, right?
Play. Dead ball. Personal foul. Offense number 72. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat. No, excuse me. It is second down.
And I don't mean get dirty as in be a dirty player. I mean get dirty as the old days when it was a mud field. And,
get some
put
dirt
our knuckles
on the
in the dirt.
uniform. Hard to do that these
game.
days.
Yeah, I know.
But,
you know what? I used to call myself a mudder because my best games were played in a sloppy, wet, muddy field because I'm north-south type guy, right? I don't have the quickness in this turf, right? It'll make me look really bad at times.
So a personal foul against the Fire moves them back. Got a war of attrition here.
I say think about, right, making contact with somebody on a surface where you can run twice as fast and make faster cuts, and what those collisions turn into based on playing on these AstroTurf fields, right? You start talking about concussions and all that other stuff. They need to factor in some of these fields and maybe think about going back to the grass fields.
Rodarte airing it out. Incomplete. Intended for Josh Thoming, drawing double coverage.
There's nothing better than hitting a player, or at least from my standpoint, hitting somebody where his feet don't actually stay in the ground, And on the turf, you get a really good grip on it, and your feet don't slide out. And on the grass, you can hit somebody and their shoes, the cleats don't hold, and they slide out, and it just softens the blow.
That's what's known as decleating someone.
Well, yeah, sort of.
Rodarte looking at a 3rd and 18 now, so incumbent on the Fire to make something happen to keep this drive alive. Rodarte back to throw.
Up the middle.
And he's not going to go anywhere, and he will be brought down.
That's what Coach Morris was talking about coming out of half is getting pressure on Ricky, right, and making him have to make some decisions back there in the pocket.
Well, it is now 4th down and quite a bunch, 20 to be exact. So you would think that the Fire would punt it out of here.
Yeah, they are.
Chad Alves, who kicked a field goal earlier in the game for the first points by the Fire, he will be the punter. And for the Law Enforcement, they're expecting to take the ball at about the 35-yard line. Alves, nice high punt. ball is down at the 38. So a nice effort by Alves that time. But it does put law enforcement in decent position to open this drive.
Right, that whole series of getting that punt off was straight organized chaos, right? It just didn't look very smooth, but the result is the same. Law enforcement gets his ball back on a short field.
Yep. Organized chaos, yes.
That's how I live my life.
Jay Sloan's pass almost picked off. Nicolas Gutierrez had visions of going coast to coast.
So if I'm coaching Jace right now, I'm gonna yank him by the helmet and go, hey, get your confidence back. Let's
Correct.
Go.
Yeah. He's looking not like he looked earlier in the game.
He's a little second guessing himself, and he's got a great arm. He knows what he's doing out there. He's not seeing what they're doing when they're squatting on these routes. Coaches will be smarter too. They'll start running little hitches and goes. Oh boy.
Sloan running it out of bounds. Prior to that snap, Greg, Jay Sloan had thrown 4 consecutive incompletions, including the interception. So he's definitely off his game a little bit at the moment. 3rd down and 4.
So this is a big possession down, I think,
sure
for law
is.
enforcement.
No question.
Right here. I mean, this with 8 minutes left in the game, this could determine a lot, right? If they pick up this first down or if they don't, what do you do? Big play.
Hand off to Earhart.
Earhart makes it happen. Got the first down.
Gets the first down. Nice power running that time by Andrew Earhart.
Right. That's a huge play in this game. Some people might not look at it, but that right there was a big play in this game.
Well, even if you do a 3 and out, it takes roughly 2 minutes off the clock.
Yeah.
And you're down to 7:38, so it's manageable for both sides. But I would agree with you, that is a huge play for the Hogs as they try to extend a 3-point advantage. No gain on that rush. One of the mystery running backs for the Hogs.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I thought that was Vasquez.
Vasquez, yeah, you're right. That is Vasquez.
And what a nice kid. I talked to him at the breakfast, and he introduced himself to me. Or actually, he did the right thing and had somebody else introduce him, and then I went over and talked to him. But
Jay Sloan.
Careful. There's a flag on the field.
A flag on the field. Flag in the
legal procedure
near side of the field. Picked up by the field judge. And what would this contest be without yet another flag?
All offensive. All players were not set on the offense. Number 9, 5 yards, second out. That one I need to know.
Us too. Yeah. Basically is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Is right that
what he's saying is I don't really know.
Yeah, number 9 has to be set for a certain period of time when he's on the line of scrimmage to make that a legal play, and he didn't get set before the ball was snapped, so they call it on the whole offensive line or the whole offense, but it's basically because they didn't get set.
Jay Sloan airing it out, but well out of bounds. Sloan really struggling right now in the
pocket.
Yeah, and that just looked like a miscommunication between the two.
Make that 5 straight incompletions.
When they're back in that area of the field here, if they don't get some yardage, they're in the same position as they were on the last 3rd and 5.
3rd down and 18.
Yeah, this is dangerous time too.
Yeah, with all the penalties, Greg, we're seeing a lot of long 3rd down and distance situations, and they're not easy to complete.
I love this. This is good stuff right here.
Sloan back to pass.
Oh boy, not where I would have gone. Out of bounds.
Caught, but out of bounds.
Yes.
So that will make it 4th down. Now what do you do?
Gosh. I tell you what, the Farrell kid was doing a great job in that inside receiver slot position, and did an inside move and was wide open in the middle of the field. And I think he had his mind made up that he was going to McDonald's the whole way there.
So Sloan now with a half a dozen incompletions.
They got the punter on, I believe.
Well, I'd certainly punt in this situation. Yep. Try and pin him deep. Getting some commentary from the field.
Right, I love it.
That's where you find out what's really going on.
So Fire's playing safe here, obviously, because they think there's a fake on board here. And really, if this goes into the end zone, it's only like a 10-yard change. Oh, nice punt. Unbelievable.
Yep.
Wow.
Got exactly what they wanted out of that one.
Wow, he's hired. Hire him. That's a great punt. Get it to die like that.
6 minutes and 6 seconds remaining. I guess we should now compensate for regulation time.
All right. I told you, I have my one punt, but I don't know. I'm not a kicker, so I don't know how they. What do they do, Doug, to get the ball? I mean, I know how to hit a wedge and make it spin backwards, but I don't know how to kick a football and make it spin backwards at all.
If you can hit a wedge and make it spin backwards, you're a better man than I am.
Well, if you buy new clubs, the clubs from the 70s that you were hitting, right?
Yeah, right.
They probably do not have any grooves in them. Just letting you know.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Or we can clean the mud out of them. One of the two. So.
With friends like you?
I know. You can chip well with those, though.
Will James noting a rapidly played second half here.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Rodarte in his own end zone. Now he's running for his life. Gets out to about the 7-yard line.
So Uh-oh. He's hurt. He pulled something as he went out of bounds. Or twisted an ankle or something.
Nonetheless, he's going back into the game.
Maybe when he transitioned from the turf to the track there's a little curb.
Yeah,
I didn't see if he caught his ankle on that.
There is a little curb, and of course it's the stadium designed for both football and track. So Rodarte now 2nd and 6, and we have Laundry. Lots of it.
Yeah, let's see if we can see what he does when he steps out of bounds if they stay with it long enough. He's looking. He had a couple open receivers in the middle of the field, but it's hard to throw back against your body. So he gets right over here, and yeah, it's close.
But it occurred as he hit that curbing area, so yeah.
I like when you do something out of aggression and you spike the ball and it hurts you even more, right? It always was a clue to me to stop doing what I was doing.
There seems to be a constant theme in your commentary here, dealing with pain.
Yes, well, it's a great neutralizer.
That it is.
In a lot of things.
2nd and 1 from the 13.
I used to say that about golf, right? If I could play golf and hit a bad shot and then have to, punishment-wise, go hit my head against a tree, then I would know not to do it again the next time, right? And you just don't have that type of ability in golf, other than they will commit you on a 51-50 hold if you did that.
2nd down and 11 for the Fire. Long way to go to try and tie up this ball game.
And they're not. But Law's defense right now, they got 3 guys rushing the passer right now, unless they're blitzing, and so they're not putting any pressure on him. Whoops. That's a mix-up in routes that worked.
Yep. 2 guys in the same spot. Not generally recommended, but this time they get away with it. So a completion for the Fire.
Gives you that many more options to catch the ball.
Time now beginning to be a factor. 4 minutes, 30 seconds. Law clinging to a 3-point lead at 14-11.
Well, it's 3rd and 7 here. Big play.
Rodarte's pass.
You got to make a play.
Complete, and they do make a play. They do make a play. Virtually nothing.
Yeah, but it's right. They have to go for it here.
Josh foaming on the reception, but it's a 4th and 7.
Oh,
and it looks like they're going to punt.
Interesting.
Interesting decision by the Fire coaching staff. Now,
what do you hope for here? I mean,
Alves is a wide receiver, so you wonder if maybe try a fake. I don't know.
Well,
a very large gentleman for the Fire, number 65, lumbering out of the game.
He made it.
He did make it, yes. Okay, Alves' punt is a boomer.
Well.
Down by the Fire at the 38-yard line. Michael Cullen downfield.
Well, if you put a couple, get 1 first down out of this series, you might put this game away.
Well, you need at least 1, and the timeout situation, the Law has just 1 remaining. The Fire has 2. So 1st and 10 from the 39. 2 first downs probably end this game. And I'm sure the Fire defense is quite cognizant of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, law enforcement here, if they're smart, they just keep the ball on the ground unless they have to throw. But you don't want a turnover, that's for sure.
Vasquez.
Oh, boy.
Vasquez with plenty of rushing room all the way down to the 44-yard line of the Fire. And that's the Vasquez that they were talking about before the game, is giving this speed element to the Law, which they have not seen for a spell.
No, and they just said he has the ability just to stick his foot in the ground and make that slight little adjustment, that move to make people miss, which is something you just don't teach people. It just is a natural thing.
So a 1st and 10 for the Law. Mark it at the 49. Under 3 minutes left. Law in no hurry. Handoff again to Vasquez.
Good 7-yard gain on the ground right up the middle. It's right now who's got the guts to push harder, right? And that offensive line is big for law enforcement, and they've done a great job the whole entire game.
Sure have. And you got to tip your hat to the Fire as well. Seemingly stymied at 14-3. They score a touchdown, get a 2-point conversion within a field goal. Anything can happen with 2:36 remaining. Speaking, Greg, of recognizing jobs well done, got to hand it to our colleague, Mr. Will James here, who's got the numbers for us.
I like it. He's like the one-man band over here.
Oh,
does
yeah.
it all.
And
awesome.
I guarantee you, he has never seen a game with as many penalties as this one. And Will, despite being just 32 years old, has seen a lot of football games in his day. So we resume play.
Earhart with the carry.
Earhart, son of Jay Earhart. So 2:20 and counting. And for law enforcement, they are in absolutely no hurry. Although they face a 3rd and 2.
Yeah, 3rd and 2 here.
A first down here probably seals the deal.
It's interesting that they line up. Vasquez is lined up like 7 yards deep. So to get 2 yards, you got to run 9.
Your math is impeccable.
Yeah, that was quick. I will go.
Well, there's Vasquez carrying 3 Fire defenders with him all the way down to the 21-yard line. Maybe make it the 22.
There's been some impressive plays, right? That might have been the best run we've seen throughout the whole game. Had the ability to see the hole being clogged up there and just pops it out. And like I said, he just puts his foot in the ground and gets up field really quick. And you tend to misjudge that when people can do those things.
Contacted at the line of scrimmage, but nonetheless stayed on his feet, kept churning, and got it going.
He did what so many running backs do nowadays, is that whole feed me thing, right? It's like, keep giving me the ball, and I'm like, okay, there's a minute left, so you'll get to eat later. How about law enforcement hold on to the ball and the game's over, right?
Yep. Vasquez now with 53 yards on 5 carries.
Nice
That's
move.
his 6th. Still on his feet. And we're under a minute. So, barring a miracle of some sort, the law enforcement will rack up a victory here in the 46th annual Pig Bowl game.
You know what? That's got to be frustrating, and I'm a little surprised, to be honest with you, because just based on their numbers and what they were putting together in the second year with this coaching staff, I'm a little surprised. I was very impressed with that first opening drive that they put together, and I thought that's what we were going to see all day. But I tell you what, they can't hang their heads, and this coaching staff has to be motivated and proud. And talking to Coach Banning, he said, I'm in for the long haul, so let's get this thing going in the right direction.
Vasquez, again the ball carrier. The workhorse of this drive, Vasquez. And that is going to be the end of the ball game. Your final score this afternoon, the Law Enforcement Hogs 14, the Fire Department 11. A great game on both sides, Greg. Go ahead.
Fun to watch, fun to be part of this again, fun to be part of this crew, which does nothing but keep me off the field. I love it very much, and I'm sure everybody else does. My wife and child do. So, God bless. I miss it. I miss this. I miss this right here, shaking the hands of the people that you work with on a day-to-day basis, and looking somebody in the eye and saying, "Hey, good game."
Yep.
Right. We might have threw punches out on the field and had a great time and exchanged some unpleasantries, but now we're going to be friends, and we'll go out on calls together tomorrow. And we, or law enforcement, might have a little bragging rights again for another year.
Well, it was a well-played game in many respects, the penalties notwithstanding. But you're right, Greg. The opportunity to go over and shake the hand of your opponent, particularly a guy that you've lined up against all afternoon long, and each of you has given all you got to give. And it's just a really, really neat scene at the end of any football game, but especially a game like this.
I mean, I'm going to tell you, the only thing I do miss is when they used to let all the families back down on the field to go see their husband, their son, and the cheerleaders as well. Them having their families with them and being part of it and taking the pictures with your family after this game, and that I miss it. And I'm not sure what the issue is. It's probably a security issue, but
liability.
It was so awesome back in the old days, right? To be able to do that. And some of the pictures that I have in my house, right, are proudly presented. My mom and my dad sitting with me. I always had a beer in my hand right after the game. It was I know, surprising. It was always my goal to be the first player on the field that had a beer in his hand. So I had some hidden with relatives in the stands that I could get to really quickly. So, but always I lost my parents this year, so those are memories that are right that I'll cherish, and I wish these guys could have some of those memories to get their families down there and take pictures and have their kids in their arm and say, hey, I used to do this. I was part of that, and I was down on the field with you, Daddy. You right?
Yep. Great memories indeed. And Greg, the Fire defense, the Law didn't score after minute 26 of the second quarter. So that's great. That's great defensive play. We're awaiting the identities of the most valuable players, which we hope to get to you as soon as possible.
I think we have to pick those, so it's going to be incumbent upon us to put our brains together and put these names down. So it's if you give us a second, maybe we can come up with some names for you. We're looking for that outstanding offensive player, outstanding defensive player, and then the MVP of the game.
Boy, that's a tough assignment. We will take a break. Final score here today, 14-11 in favor of the Law, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Awesome. This kid, sorry.
Imagine a time when no one person has Parkinson's disease, is debilitated by a stroke, and no family suffers the tragedy of Alzheimer's. Some of the best minds in America are doing more than imagining. The American Brain Foundation is seeking to find cures, where life without brain disease isn't just something we can imagine, it's something we can know. Help us get there.
Final score this afternoon, the Law Enforcement Hogs 14, the Fire Department Dogs 11, in a very tightly played game throughout the afternoon. The 46th annual Pig Bowl is in the books, and we have the awarding on the field of the most valuable offense and defensive players.
Sloan did a good job of
sure did
controlling the game. I said a close runner-up in that voting, I think, was the offensive line. Right? They played a heck of a game, and since those guys never get any credit, right?
We're going to give them credit.
I would give them a lot of credit.
Well, Greg, we should talk a little bit about each of the players that were recognized here today. Stephen Kay, defensively for the Fire, on defense, obviously. Cole Farrow on offense. But I think the one that stands out to me, and you just mentioned it, is the MVP of this game is the offensive line for the Hogs, who did just a tremendous job all afternoon.
Yeah, it's. I'm looking down on the field because it's pretty cool right now that both teams come together, and they're Captain Barnes is in the middle of this thing, and I know what he's saying is like, thank you guys, and from the bottom of his heart, thank you for making this happen. And he's telling them it's hard, right, when you lose this game and you don't win something that you've been practicing to win for a long period of time, and it's been difficult over the years for the fire department, and to keep battling and keep being part of this and keep giving back to this community has been a huge benefit to getting this game to the 50th year and beyond. So,
well, when you look at all of the good that this game accomplishes, sure, you want to win the game, there's no question.
Yep.
But in many respects, both teams win the game when they come out here and do what they do on their own time for the good of our community.
That's a picture right there for you.
Sure is.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It sure is. And, you know, the people who attended today's game, they saw a good one. Competitive throughout.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the game I told you, I go, hey, let's keep this about some of the, it's not so much about the football game. It's more about the traditions and the history of this game and how we got to this point and why we're at this point. And yet we couldn't help ourselves because it turned into such a good football game, competitive-wise on the field, that we spent a lot of time talking football, right, which is probably boring for the fans at home because they're not watching this for that. They're watching it to see their kid and hear some of the stories and why they play the game. But
well, you got a fair amount of stories in there, so no arguments on that front. But yeah, both sides will come out of this feeling good. Let's go down to Lauren on the field. She's got some interviews.
Thanks, guys. Well, I'm here with the Fire MVP, defensive MVP, and the offensive MVP. Let me start on the defensive side of the ball. You guys came out extremely aggressive, Mike, played really, really hard. What do you think was different this year than last year?
Just a good group of guys that came out. We had a lot of good practices. Everyone was coming out. We kind of came together, solidified it, had a new coaching staff last year, and we were able to come in here and kind of put it together and just fly around, play football.
Now, you made some big tackles out there. That team was extremely big, but you came in, played really, really well at the linebacker position. How comfortable were you out there today?
It's fun. I got the guys up front. They're clearing lanes, getting those big guys out of my way so we can kind of get freed up and make plays. So they make it easy on me. Those guys that's where it's at up front.
Now, today was all about brotherhood and you guys coming together for the community. How do you feel today's game was, and then what was your biggest takeaway?
It's just a microcosm of law enforcement, EMS, all of us together coming together for a cause. That's what we're here to do, serve the community, and this is the epitome of it. We're all competitive guys, but we love this area, we love this community, and that's what we're here to do.
Defense is big, wins championships, so congratulations on being a defensive player of the game. Now I'm here with the quarterback, all bloody, banged up. You played really, really big for the Fire. How did you feel out there on the field today?
I felt great until I started getting hit. I'm hurting pretty bad now. I'm probably going to hurt worse tomorrow, but you know what? Nothing serious. I got to finish the game. Obviously, we always wish we would have won the game. You know, a couple of penalties here. You know, I would say a lucky pass there at the end for the Hogs, but at the end of the day, we're all one big team, and it's the charities that win.
Yep.
As much as we hate to say that, and we want to win the game, it's all about the charities. And then, like I said, this is the year we raised already $40,000. So the charities are who win today.
Now, Fire came out pretty on fire. New uniforms, new look. How did you feel about the team's continuity this season, and what was really different?
We thought 100% that this was going to be our year. We were saying that this is the new era of Fire Dog football. You know, we had Folsom High coaches. After last year's game, I got with the coach. I told him, hey, I'm your quarterback next year. I'm going to be the player rep. You know, I want new uniforms. I want new helmets. I just want to start off fresh. And I think we did that. You know, we had the opening drive. Everything was just going perfect. And then, you know, just a couple of bad bounces, a couple of things here and there. But it's still a new era of Fire Dog football. And going forward, I think these guys know, you know, it's even though we keep losing, it's what's it called? It's a new ball game. So.
Now, you guys play extremely well. New team for sure this year. You got banged up a lot. What's the likability of you returning next year as a starting quarterback for the Fire?
Oh, 100%. I love this game. I love football. I grew up playing football. All of us at one time played either high school, college, semi-pro, pro, And this is just like our way of living out that dream of, hoping like the Raiders or the Niners are in the sidelines, waiting, giving us that phone call or something one day. But yeah, I'm not going nowhere. I told these guys I'll play till the 50th, which should be in another 3 years or so. We'll see how these injuries go. But yeah, I'm not going nowhere. Even if I'm not playing, I'm going to always be the player rep. I'm going to keep it going.
Awesome. You played tough and you played well. Congratulations on being the MVP for the Fire Bulldogs.
Well, thank you, Lauren. Appreciate that very much. And Greg,
I love
celebratory time out there. Let's
get Jason there, huh?
Okay. We're going to go back down now to Lauren, and she's got another special guest. Lauren?
Now I'm here with the MVP, offensive MVP for the Hogs 2 times in a row. I got an opportunity to talk to you as a player of the game. How does it feel to get it back-to-back?
Feels good. I think probably my O-line deserved it more than I did since I had 2 turnovers, but feels good to get it. The watch was nice addition to getting the MVP, so I'm just thankful to be able to play this game.
Your team played extremely well. Obviously, it was a little bit more battle this year from the Fire output. How did it feel for the game to be a little bit more competitive?
I'm feeling it right now. My knees are all scraped up. I know I'm bleeding in this one. My little one noticed my arm was bleeding. She's like, "Oh, Daddy, you're bleeding." So I felt it after like the second or third play. I threw a pick and a guy blindsided me. And I was like, all right, these boys came out to play. So Fire was good this year. I really tip my hat off to them. They came out ready to fight, and I mean, we inched them out. So.
Now another year, getting to play really well with the Hog team, but can you just tell me what it means to have your family, your daughters out here and just playing in front of the community today?
It means a lot. I mean, obviously for me, I drive 2 hours for practice every day. I come all the way from like the Turlock, Modesto area. So for me, I mean, that first year, it meant a lot, and I'm going to play it until either I can't anymore or my wife tells me to stop. So.
Sounds good. So that means you're returning next year?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Next year I'll have a baby boy with us. So, yeah. Future Hogs quarterback.
Congratulations to the new addition, and congratulations as well on being the MVP for the Hogs.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thank you, Lauren. Well, Greg Coet, another Pig Bowl game in the books. Your overall thoughts on what happened today as we wrap it up?
Well, I'd love to first say thank you, and thank you guys for allowing me to be part of this still. I started, and I know you know this, but before I was even involved in law enforcement, I was playing football for the Sacramento Surge here, and you were one of the guys on that team that I first got to meet, and I got to announce one of these games prior to even knowing anything about this game my first year, so it's nice to come sort of full circle and be back in the booth, and it's nice to be back and seeing you again. So the game was great, right? It's what we expect from this game. It's a family tradition, right? And it's a Sacramento tradition that has 46 years of longevity that you just can't buy that type of tradition. So I like where this game's going. I like what Captain Barnes has in plan for this game and where it's going to be. And I like the fact you have Make-A-Wish involved now. You have a national sponsor, and we get Under Armour on board and some of these other big title sponsors on board, and the amount of money when you do that just goes up. And maybe we can get these stands completely full. But it was nice to actually see them full before the game was at halftime today, at least on the lower levels. And it was nice to see everybody staying in their seats for the whole game because it was that type of excitement. So, and they've let the families down on the field. So that's what I like to see, right? And I love seeing some of the footage that's on the TV right now, and love looking down there and seeing families together. And I love the quarterbacks talking about their injuries, right? That's what it's about. And I love Ricky saying, "Hey, it's all good and dandy, and I felt great until I got hit in the mouth." What a great statement. And that's what football's about, right? So awesome. Nice time, nice day.
Well, to wrap up our coverage here today, a look at the final statistics. 42 yards rushing, 80 yards passing, 122 total for the Fire Dogs. They had 1 turnover. Fire Dogs 8 penalties for 80 yards and 8 first downs. For the law enforcement Hogs, they pretty balanced at 141 yards rushing, 132 passing, 273 total. They had turnovers. And the law enforcement Hogs with 12 penalties for 160 yards. So aggregate, that's 20
penalties for 240 yards, 9 first downs, but nobody's really going to reflect on the penalties as much as the fact that the game was hard fought from the opening whistle to the final gun. Your final score today is the Guns and Hoses 11 and the victorious Hogs 14. So for Will James in our booth, keeping our numbers and notes straight, we appreciate your presence, Will. Lauren Goodman, my partner Greg Coette. This is Doug Kelly saying so long from Hornet Stadium and the completion of the Pig Bowl game for 2020. See you next year.